Hello, friends, and welcome to another exciting episode of Snap Judgments. At this point, I might as well be Roy Rogers because that boy is busy, and I've been taking his place for a million weeks in a row. It is Glazer, and if you don't know who I am, well, welcome to the show. First of all, I make an awful lot of Marvel Snap content. Some people say more than anybody. I haven't actually broken that down, but it is entirely possible. I'm joined by the content creator who probably makes the least Marvel Snap content. It is Nick the Greek Geek. How you doing, Nick?
Hi. Well, technically, I am making Marvel Snap content. It's just,
Mine.
in the back end side of things, and yours. Hey, it's still there. I do need to stream. I was actually going to stream the other day, but then I didn't. So
it's the best. That's your life story. Well, now you have to edit things for me over the next couple of days, so you can't stream again. However, people who never have to edit aren't even on YouTube. We're joined by two of our favorite recurring guests. Let's start with the man who never sleeps, because we got to keep him awake nice and early. It is the one and only ToxicSoulKing, one of my favorite streamers in the world. How you doing, Toxie?
I'm doing great. It's the third time this week I'm hearing some content of you. I'm happy. And I napped great, so hey, I got my 30 minutes sleep today.
30 minutes? All right, let's keep this episode quick so we don't kill our friend. Hey, Ika, what time is it where you are?
It is appropriate time to be having a podcast. It's 6. It's almost 7. It's not midnight, and I did not have a nap, but I'm still ready to go.
So, Ika is the person who created the deck you're probably playing on ladder right now. You just don't realize it. Ika, how can our friends find you?
You can find me on Twitch, Ika_MTS. That's where I'm doing the cooking. That's where I'm doing the testing, and that's where I'm doing the pumping. Let's say.
But he's not doing the drugs, because on Snap Judgments, we just say no to drugs while you're live on air. Toxie, how can people find you?
Twitch.tv ToxicSoulKing. Most of the time.
That's it? That's all you got, huh?
Yep.
Why should people follow you, Toxie?
Last time I said Twitter, you said I don't use that, so I stopped with that.
You haven't been on Twitter at all. Ika uses Twitter.
That's true.
I do, unfortunately.
Sometimes I repost stuff.
I almost never even go on Twitter anymore because Nick made me download an app that posts to BlueSky and Twitter at the same time. So now instead of opening Twitter, I post just on that app and avoid the 20 to 40 minutes of doom scrolling that happens right around that time. It's really nice. Hey Nick, if you ever decide to stream, I mean, look, at this point, where can people find you most often? This podcast.
Here.
Make sure you check this podcast almost every freaking week. Nick is here. However, if he ever decides to stream, where can they find you?
Like it says on the thing, Nick the Greek Geek on Twitter, Instagram, Twitch. I will still never call it X, but I'm occasionally there if I don't get caught up by rage bait.
Yeah.
And I need to turn that down. Whoopsies.
Yeah. Yep. I am Snap Judgments Pod over on YouTube. If you're not there, odds are mathematically this is where you're watching the show at Snap Judgments Pod on YouTube. I release a video every single day. I can't remember the last week. I only did 7 videos. I think I do 8 videos fundamentally every week at this point. I mean, largely because at this point, the podcast is almost always a bonus video on top of everything else. And then I like to do a 2 on Thursdays just to remind the algorithm that even if there's not an OTA, I still exist twice on Thursdays. But I'm also SnapJudgeCast on Twitter. Don't follow me there. I mean, you can follow me there if you want. You don't have to unfollow me, but I hate that app. The other place you can find me is PulseGlazer on the Twitch. I stream, I used to say almost every day a week, but toward the end of the school year, life is hectic. So I stream usually between 4 and 5 days a week. So come stop by and hang out. In addition, if you'd like to watch this podcast be recorded live, that happens in 4-week months, 3 out of the 4 weeks. In 5-week months, 4 out of the 5 weeks, we record once on Wednesday because that's the only day Tucker can do for new cards. So otherwise, this podcast is recorded almost every Thursday at about 8:30 p.m. Eastern if you'd like to come watch it. And that is how you do an intro, friends. We all good? All right.
Well done.
So that's not what that is. Let's talk Elixir. I just forgot to delete a slide. Ignore that. It is Elixir. Elixir is the new card, and Ika and I are going to get in a fist fight about it. It is a 2/3 on reveal. One of your cards destroyed last turn gets revived here. And let's go with the strongest opinion first. Ika.
Yeah, my strong opinion is definitely very strong. I think this is one of the worst cards ever in the game. It's pretty bad. On new card release days, I usually, when I'm streaming on Tuesdays, I basically play the new card all day. I play different decks. I try to come up with everything, figure out every little interaction. And on Tuesday, I gave up on this card. I just stopped playing it after like a couple hours, and that rarely happens. Yes, there are cards coming out that will be a huge help to this card. I don't know if it's gonna be enough, but it definitely will be better. And just as a little tail end, this card's definitely gonna get buffed. It's definitely gonna get changed. It's definitely gonna get buffed. Like if I think it's that bad, like I've thought cards were bad in the past and they've gotten buffed, and I don't even think they were that bad. But this one I think is like awful. 100% this is getting buffed. So if you want to invest in it while you can and get those pack things out of the way, right? Like if your collection complete, then it's probably a safe buy. But for now, I really don't like it.
All right. Toxie.
I played Thanos Destroy for like
Toxie.
30 games, and I couldn't make
fell asleep.
myself.
All right, Nick,
What?
go first.
You know what?
Where's
This is one of those.
ToxicSoulKing?
Just froze a little
Apparently,
bit.
I'm ToxicSoulKing now. I don't know what is he
He's,
doing
like,
with his little
moving.
finger there.
He's moving. He's just not making sounds. I don't know what's happening.
I don't know either. Someone needs to reach out to him. I think he's lost himself in his own little universe. Oh,
That's
there
it.
we go.
It was reconnecting.
Nope.
Oh, okay. All right, so Toxie, what do you think of this card?
I played 40 games of Thanos Destroy, and I couldn't make myself to play this deck or this card in my deck. So yeah, I don't like him. The hardest thing with this card will be get 5 boosters to not appear in my booster store. I can't wait for support for him, but otherwise from that, he will just be like a fine addition beside of my domino of cards I will never use.
Nick?
Yeah, this is one of those cards that I knew was going to be questionable. You know, this wasn't going to be like a bullseye. This didn't have the power of, you know, there being something hidden there. It's just too vague and too. If you want to put this in Destroy, what do you take out that is better than this? There are so many other things that you can add into a Destroy deck, and I just don't think this one fits. I can see some fun plays for this, but I don't think it's anything that is worth taking another card out for. So it's a card that I definitely think needs a buff. I would love to get some thoughts as to what buffs might be good for this. And I know, you know, Kid Omega's around the corner, but not that close around the corner. And I don't know if that on its own is going to be enough. Is it next week? No, stop saying that. No, it's longer than that.
There's 2 weeks left, less than 2 weeks left in the month of the season.
Stop. Yeah. I don't want to hear that. Anyway,
so Nick's not going to hit infinite this season is what the concern is here.
He
has to actually open the app to do that, and you know.
Yeah.
So this card is good, and y'all are wrong. Look, you know that like handshake meme where it's like 2 guys are like that, and then they've got that's me and Husky over Elixir and Red Wing. The card's just good. Like it plays well. It's not a full build around. It's a card you run specifically if you are doing I eat Cassandra Nova and bring Cassandra Nova stuff back, and that has some value. And it's a card you run if you want to do Zola on turn 5 or turn 6 with a magic. In either one of those instances, it's a really powerful card. Straight up, it's a really powerful card. We're going to look at one of those decks. Is it required for that kind of thing? No. But, like, is it good in those decks? Yeah. Is it great? Absolutely not. Is it one of the best cards in Marvel Snap? Absolutely not. Is it Bruce fucking Banner? No. It's better than Bruce. Sure. It's better than original Daken. It's significantly better than Kong. It's better than Kong. I'm sticking with it. I'm owning it. It's better than Kong. King Kong, indeed. But it's a C tier card, like a C, like a solid C, inching up on C plus. And when it goes well, he's like a B. He's like an okay card. He's just like everyone's acting like he's this amazingly bad thing because in Marvel Snap, like remember when Kahori came out and everyone's like, Kahori's terrible. Kahori's a good card. Is Kahori busted? Is Kahori an S tier card that you should put in every deck? No. But is Kahori good? Yeah. She has her home. She goes in certain Victoria Hand style decks. Elixir does the same thing. He has very specific and certain decks he goes in. I think he's a C now, and one step further. Should Kid Omega be coming out next week? It's still technically speculation. We're assuming that there are 3 cards coming out next week, or the first week of the new season. But once Kid Omega comes out, I think this is not a good card. I think this is a great card. If I can go Kid Omega into, and like, this doesn't seem difficult. Kid Omega into what's her stupid name? Into Cassandra, into Elixir. That's amazing.
But you can just do that with like Phoenix Force and you get much more value. You move it around.
Sure. Why would I not be running both in that deck at that point?
Because
right?
There's 12 cards in a deck.
Sure, but like, I don't always draw Phoenix Force. I don't always hit the things I want on the turns I want. And Elixir gives me another way to do that. I think it's going to be really, really good. Like, I genuinely, I've got like a 65% win rate with this card. And I climbed like 200 snap points into like the top, into the 300s with it.
I hope you're right. You know, like, I don't want cards to be bad in the game, right? Like, I cook, like my favorite thing to do in the game is cooking decks. Like, I don't want new cards to be bad, but I can't get with what you're saying.
There are 3 people that like this card right now. It's Zuriel, me, and Husky Puppies. And everyone else is on your side. But like, the 3 of us keep fucking winning. So so a bunch of people, random regular people, hopped into my stream and were like, everyone keeps telling me that Elixir's bad, but they keep winning whenever they play the card. And that's fine, but there's also a lot of times it's dead in your hand, which is the real problem with it, right? It's like, it can win you games in ways other things can't. And when it doesn't win you games, it's a dead ass card. But like, that's what a lot of tech cards are in the first place, right? Like, that's not dissimilar to a lot of tech cards. Plus, you're building for it, and if you build a good deck, you can win in other ways.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think it would be like actually a good card. Like, the way you're describing, it would be correct to describe a card that has a text that says just the last card destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
Not the last turn, just the last card destroyed. There's so many times on Tuesday that even I and people coming in chat were like, oh, just kill this and then you can elixir this. And then we're like, no, wait, you can't do that because it's the last turn's card and not the same turn. I don't know.
So that's what Kid Omega is for, ultimately. Kid Omega just makes it so much more easily used it that way. Because like, the problem with Venom, which I was fairly excited to try it with Venom. The problem with Venom is Venom's killing 2 or 3 cards.
Yeah.
Right? Like, Venom's killing 2 or 3 cards, and and you don't really want Hood in those cards, and you often want Hood in those decks. And then Elixir has to compete with one of the best cards of the game. And I understand all that, but I still kept winning whenever I played it. Like, new card day is often the day I pump. Because the advertisement for the stream is always, I'm going to play every deck for this new card that I find. You didn't send me anything, so I played like 4 or 5 different decks. And the bad decks were 500, and the good decks were like 80% win rates. And then I played it again the next day on stream, and I won some more. And then I played it this morning to get some dailies done, and I won some more. And I just I keep winning with the stupid card. Is it amazing? No, but when it wins me games, it's games I would have otherwise lost. That seems like it's valuable. And then sometimes it brings back the fucking Hood, and you're just like, oh, well, I wish this was not a card, right? But like, again, there's you, Mr. I play all the Cersei and Pixie in the world. I would think you'd understand that.
Well, yeah. But, you know, I don't know.
I'm going to sell you on this card. Wait for it. Look, in 3 weeks, it's going to be the Land of Jet, right? Where it's going to be this Phoenix Force, Victoria Hand, Elixir thing. And we're all just going to be like, why is Jet rank 1? Right? Like, this is like, those 2 cards tie his random Victoria Hand Phoenix Force bullshit together so well.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, a lot of the times, personally speaking, when I was building decks, like, I felt like I was cutting out Phoenix Force for Elixir. Like, if it was hard for me to run both of them. And when I did run both of them, I was like, okay, but then why not just have a better card instead of Elixir. That was my whole point. And I think because like those kinds of decks are like, you already have to get a pretty straightforward sequence in order to make those kinds of decks work. And I feel like Elixir just isn't really giving you consistency to me, at least.
In a Phoenix Force deck, I agree, but not in a Victoria Hand deck. Right? Like Victoria Hand decks work differently. I'm talking
what is
about
this
using
doing
it
for Victoria Hand?
It's just it brings back a Victoria Hand you destroyed, or that got like
Why
negative.
are you destroying Victoria Hand?
But what it ultimately does is like I don't know how to explain jet lists. Jet lists are fucking wild.
Yeah, Jet's just Jet. Yeah, that's true.
Right, but they win, and whenever I play them, I win with them, and this just adds this ridiculous consistency piece, right? Because they're running just Misery and Phoenix Force because he jams those into everything, and otherwise it's just a Victoria Hand deck. Well, what if I add because I have plenty of space because I'm just jamming 2 damn cards in, and Victoria Hand honestly is a deck that has a lot of space to it, right? If I'm adding Omega and Elixir to that. Like I now have all these little packages I can add, and I'm not losing power by destroying something, right? So like, what's the actual downside there to having this extra way to get whatever I destroyed back?
Yeah,
I just think that's very likely to be good. Yeah. I don't know.
So what is it that's everybody sees with this card that's different, clearly? Because obviously there is something that you guys are experiencing very differently, whether that's either the meta that you're in or the card itself. It's clear that you guys have very different experiences with testing this card out.
EK, were you playing it with Arnim Zola or no?
I did play a little bit of Arnim Zola yesterday, actually. I played some like Arnim Zola Cook with Elixir, and
really, that's where I liked it. I really, really liked it with Zola. I liked it with Zola and in Husky's deck. Husky figured out the sauce I liked for Victoria Hand, and then I really liked it with Zola. I thought like if I can Zola on 5, because like Zola on 5 is really, really strong, but then you're like, what the hell am I doing on 6? Right? Like and Zola on 5 isn't something people really play around well, and if I can do that kind of thing, then now Elixir bringing back the thing I Zola'd is incredibly strong.
Yeah, but that deck, I think I know exactly the one you're talking about. Like, that doesn't run Phoenix Force. You could just run Phoenix Force instead.
Then I'm taking up most of my turn 6, though. Spending 2 on turn 6 means I can still Shang, I can Shadow King, I can play in the Husky version, I can now drop like a Victoria Hand and another card and a couple demons with it. I can, like, when Sage is blown up, getting that extra trigger for on reveals is really nice, like, at a really cheap cost. The 2 spaces is annoying, however.
Yeah. No.
Hey, we got a raid from Cougar. Thanks, Cougar. All right, let's keep going. We are done fighting with Elixir for now. The next thing we're going to do, Marvel Snap's got its first tournament coming up this Saturday. This will very likely be released to the general public after Saturday, but I asked each of our guests, as I die quickly, what deck that they would pick as the best deck to take to this tournament that is not a simple Thanos list. Toxic picked this Silver Surfer list that I'm going to read, and then he's going to explain why he picked it, and then we should all discuss a couple choices to the deck. And then Heart of the Cards, who's chilling in chat, can yell at you for not choosing his. So we've got Sam Wilson, Surge as the only 2-drops, Brood, Carter, Rogue, Surfer, Juggy, Monger, Mobius, Red Guardian, Galacta, and Gwenpool. Toxie, tell us about the list.
It's a bit of tech. Like, I feel like you need, if you don't put out like a billion power stats, you need something tech heavier. So I feel like Mobius, Rogue, and maybe if you want to call Juggernaut as a tech piece, should be helpful against some or most decks. So you should be good there. And I feel like, because I trained a bunch with Thanos against this deck too, if your opponent is like killmongering you on 4 or 5, Juggernaut has like a lot of impact. Like, Mockingbird is not reduced anymore, is not a 0-drop anymore. So if you really go for a Juggernaut, it's like kind of likely you will hit Thanos and bump it somewhere else. And let's be honest, Carter and Brood, or like Galacta and Brood, stuff like this is just so much power to probably solo lane if you are not getting Shadow King. And just Thanos is running Shadow King, so you have to keep an eye on that. But any other deck can't afford Shadow King. So it should be really good right now. And Surge seems like a great card. If your opponent is not instantly Mobiusing you, Surge can build up like a lot of power and tempo.
Ika, thoughts on this deck? Questions about it?
This is a good pick. I think Surfer is going to have a pretty good representation at the tournament. Whether that's Heart of the Card version or this one, or there's like also like Sarah versions, which I would suggest don't do because Mobius is going to be very prominent. Surfer is a very powerful deck. It's after the Thanos tech deck, it is the best tech hybrid deck, right? Like it has power with what Toxic mentioned with Galacta and Brood and all that, but it also has tech because a lot of the impactful tech cards are 3 cost. It's a very good deck. The only issue that something like this runs into is ongoing Thanos. Ongoing Thanos, yes, Killmonger is really, really good against it, but ongoing Thanos has a lot of power just in general. It's also got Cosmo. That's, Cosmo can be pretty impactful. Both of the Thanos versions have Cosmo. The tech Thanos even has Alioth, so that's another tick against Surfer. It's how do I say this? It's a back and forth between Thanos and Surfer, in my opinion. If you're like, you just have to get the right draws, you have to get the right RNG, and I think either deck can win in a one-on-one. So yeah, Surfer is a great pick.
Nick?
I think Surfer is just a solid deck full out. Like it like we were talking about just before you came back, it is a solid, easy deck to pilot for the most part. This has enough tech in it to protect against Thanos. It has enough tech to kill something, like kill that that Strange Supreme with the Red Guardian, the Galacta, to push enough power on there. That Captain Carter lane can be insane. I don't know. I think the only thing that I'm wondering about this one is, does this have enough power, or is this the kind of thing that you have to be really, really careful and retreat when you are, in a tight spot with it? Like I've not seen a ton of this one, surprisingly enough, or at least not in this exact form. But I think it's an incredibly strong deck. It's just one of those ones that doesn't look on paper like there's enough power here to go up against stuff like Thanos, stuff like, even certain discards. But then, you've got your Red Guardian, you've got your Killmonger, you've got your Mobius to stop a lot of the different shenanigans.
So, a couple questions about this version. First, we've mentioned the Heart of the Cards version. For anyone who doesn't know, that's the version that runs Fenris Wolf, Negasonic Teenage Warhead, and Gladiator. Toxic, why did you choose this one instead of that one? Why do you hate Heart of the Cards?
I need to be special. But I don't... Is this enough as an answer?
If you want.
I don't know. I kind of like Negasonic. Only thing is, it's sometimes really hard to win the Prio battle, especially against Thanos. So if you don't get like Prio maybe 3 or something, your opponent easily can trigger, especially because we probably count as like 60% Thanos opponents. Your Thanos opponent can just bump like a stone in there. And it's like, okay, they lost like maybe a Mockingbird discard, but that's it overall. Of course, you can have Gladiator stuff. On the other side, sometimes I felt bad with Gladiator. Do I want to give sometimes my opponent like an extra card draw? Maybe pull something out? My luck is like, last season I did like Gladiator and Surfer. I pulled like from 3 times Wiccan on his Wiccan curve, and I just started to cry. I don't know. I had like kind of a hard time with it, and I feel like the Surge Sam thing will be probably enough as an early curve, and then I just purely pump out on power, and otherwise I just hope for win with one lane Jug and the other lane with Galacta buffed stuff.
There are 2 cards that aren't here that I just want to double check about. First, and Rogue is obviously the card that one of these would go over. Sebastian Shaw hasn't made many Surfer lists for a very long time. He is built specifically for a Surfer, but he just doesn't even go in those. Why is there no Shaw? Tell our viewers.
We have Carter. I feel like Carter took the space from Shaw nowadays. Carter is just way bigger than Shaw could be, and it's way more versatile. You can do way more stuff. Plus, Shaw is maybe shankable if you Galactor it or if you Gwenpool it, while Carter will maybe eat an Enchantress, worst case scenario. And I don't know, I dislike the thing that you just rely on one big card on the lane that can get countered, while with Brood or a smaller Carter, you have like one less chance to get shanked. You will more likely stay alive and be more a
Hang on, is
threat.
Toxie breaking up a little bit for people or just me?
Yeah, Toxie's
Yeah,
breaking up like
Toxie,
crazy.
you're breaking up a little bit, but
Oh, wait, I can check.
your internet's being a jerk.
Oh, well,
Better?
no surprise.
You sound totally fine now. Go ahead.
Um,
You
I
sound
don't know
totally
where
fine now. Continue. I'm sorry.
I don't know where to stop, but I like the thing that Carter is
And
like
the second you
just-
start talking for longer, it immediately dies again.
do
Toxic
your
Robot
next
King.
question. I will just look for it.
All right, Ika, you get to answer the last question. Why-
About Shaw?
He answered Shaw. So the problem
yeah,
is
sure.
Shaw is big in one lane and he's very easily disrupted.
Yeah. No.
For a
He's-
while, Sage was appearing in a lot of these lists. I'd like to know what happened to Sage.
Ooh, that's a good. I think similarly, honestly, Carter kind of takes that spot. You don't need to go that tall in a certain lane anymore because you have Carter that can kind of compensate for a lot of the lower powered threes. Right? You put a lower power 3 behind Carter, it's all of a sudden basically a Sage. So yeah, that would be. But if I could add a third card that's missing from here that I think is pretty essential to Surfer decks, it's Makari. I think Makari
I didn't
is
even
very
notice you're
important.
right.
We were, Toxic mentioned like priority thing with like Negasonic and things like that. But if you have Makari, that really boosts up your priority chances. And just generally speaking, it's just really good. It's a 3/4 that's on board all the time. Basically, well, I mean, if you draw it, I guess. And yeah, it just gets buffed to a 3/6 or helps with your Carter. It's really good.
The question is just, what do you want to cut from Makari? Like,
Rogue.
you either
Sorry, wait, what?
Rogue,
That's easy.
yeah.
don't we take the rather to get a little bit more tech out of your permanent stuff? Maybe I'm coping with the tech options, but I feel like Rogue is just a safe way.
The other cut could be Gwenpool.
Yeah, that's another one. I think with Rogue, the issue that you will run into with Rogue, in my opinion, and because playing Surfer, a lot of the times, if you have cards in your hand like Carter and Brood and Surfer already, let's say, there are situations when that happens. You don't want to play any of those on 3. You want to wait to play those after Galacta or on turn 6. And then a lot of the times you will have another card in your hand that you want to play on curve on 3. And if it's Rogue, like you're playing a 3/2.
A lot of the problems I've been having with Surfer lately, a lot of Surfer builds, is that they just don't have that many 3s they want to play on 3, right?
Yeah.
Like, you don't want to Brood or Carter or Rogue or Juggernaut or Killmonger or Red Guardian on 3, which means Mobius? God, I hope I see Mobius, right?
Yeah.
Like, that is like that's not just this Surfer list. That's a lot of Surfer lists lately. And I think, like, yes, having a lot of optionality about 3s at the end of the game is important, but like, you need to get some out early. And like if your only 3s are like Red Guardian and Carter, like, I guess you're throwing out that Carter, but that's not you need to see Surfer, right? Because, like, your buffs are Gwenpool and Galacta. So, like, now you need to see Surfer or there is no further buff for Carter. And she's still fine if you don't buff her. But, like, if she's buffed, she's one of the best cards in the game. So, like, there's some push and pull here. Maybe this wants Nova, too. Like, so my problem with Nova is that Nova tells everyone that I'm running Killmonger. I want to at least, well, I guess open deck list, it doesn't matter.
Open deck lists, yeah.
Yeah, I got to get used to that idea. But open deck list, it doesn't matter. All right, we talked about this one for long enough. Any other final thoughts on this, or are we good?
No, I think that's good.
Ika picked the Havoc deck. I'll read through it. He picked, like, the old school one with no updates. Dragon had a question in chat quickly. Dragon is a wonderful tournament player and a streamer who you should follow, but I can't figure out how to tell you how to spell his name right now. So, also, Dragon, you're awake every week. Why are you never on the podcast? You should be on the podcast soon. However, as the case may be, Hope is good, but like not amazing, right? Like, it's if you're running two twos, I like Hope, and if you're running 3 twos, I don't think you need Hope because you almost always have an extra Hope on. You almost always have an extra 2 on turn 5.
Mhm.
That's my basic Hope logic. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yep.
You don't want to play one card on turn 5 that's just a 3. And the math says you usually have a 2 to play on 5 if you are doing it the other way. All right, so Luna is also just really solid in Surf, but then you're running Sarah, and Sarah's really bad right now. All right,
Yeah.
Ika's got the Havoc deck. Hood, Bast, Nico. Oh, I forgot. This should be I'm copied it off of the wrong version. And Kitty. I have Madam Web in the version that's on screen. Sorry about that.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, it was Gamer's version. He had a Madam Web version, and I got so used to like seeing the normal version, it didn't even click that it was still there. So then Havoc, Thena, US Agent, Agent Venom, Cassandra Nova, Sage, Cosmo, and Red Guardian. Ika, tell us about the list.
Yeah, you could also put Surge in this. I think that's been like a latest update for a deck like this. The reason I think this deck could be a sleeper is because it's very, very good at holding back information. Yes, Thena scales early on, and you have it on the board, and you know how much power that's going to be, where it's going to be. However, you have cards like Sage, you have cards like Kitty, who gets buffed throughout the whole match. You have Havoc. You know, Cassandra Nova can be pretty impactful against Thanos decks early on. You have Cosmo to protect a lot of the Shadow Kings and Cheese if need be for Cassandra Nova. It's very powerful in that sense where like power comes out on the board early and you're also holding back a lot of the power. You can make those decisions on where to play your power on turn 6, where you're going to Havoc, where you're going to Sage by assessing the board state and then going from there. I think it's gonna be a sleep. I think if somebody decides to bring a deck like this, and I think that someone will because it's a very popular deck to play. I think people will bring this deck. I think it's gonna put up some numbers. Like it's very similar to Surfer in that sense, where it's like a low ball deck with a little bit of tech. But I think this one is more powerful than Surfer on average power bases. So if you're looking for something that's more impactful and easier to like power dump on turn 6, this would be a deck to go with, in my opinion.
There was a tournament last weekend called the Crown. This deck did finish in the top 4.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and I believe Not My Dance called this the Bass Spice Rack.
Okay. Toxie, thoughts about the deck? Questions about specific cards? Ignore the Madam Web. It should be Kitty.
Except of that, like I was thinking about, I used to like Jug in that deck too. Like if I don't Havoc on 5, I sometimes like to Sage one lane, Jug the other one. That was like always a thought, and I tried to figure out like what card I would like to cut here. It could have been Red Guardian maybe, but I don't know if you really want to cut the last kind of tech piece here. I was just like always a big fan of using Jug here. Otherwise from that, I kind of like Ika's idea that to play like a deck where you just flat out maybe on 6 and your opponent has to guess, do you Sage left, do you Sage right, where is the Sage going to land, how big is the Sage going to be. That's like really powerful because especially like in a tournament-based scene with open deck lists where your opponent can just have your deck list open 24/7 and he knows exactly what you are bringing, you need something, sometimes like some mind games. That's why Thanos could be really strong because you can do a turn 6 with Mockingbird and Thanos and stuff, and your opponent won't actually know where to go. And it's kind of important to have some things your opponent has to guess, and he's not like, okay, I just need to Cosmo that lane, you lose and stuff. I still don't know if we can put up enough power against maybe like an ongoing Thanos deck, to be honest, even with like a good curve. That's like my issue. It can go toe-to-toe probably to Surfer, especially if Surfer's not getting like Galacta value. Otherwise, I really enjoy that idea. And Cass will be good. Like, Cass against Thanos on 3, Cass especially against Arishem is like winning one lane. So you should be maybe good against some decks. And yeah, if you're good with this deck, if you can scale good, and if you can hide your ideas on turn 6, you should probably do solidly.
Can I just add something to that before we go to Nick? A lot of how this deck wins in a lot of different matches, Thanos in particular, and Surfer, it dies fairly hard to those if it loses Prio going into the last turn. It very badly wants Prio going into the last turn in order to compete. If it does, then you're not worried about their Cosmo, and now your Cosmo is a weapon. Versus if it doesn't, now you're worried about their Killmonger, and everything else becomes a problem.
Fair.
Yeah,
Right.
I think this is a great deck. I think it's a relatively straightforward deck to pilot once you get the hang of it. But I think that's it, is you have to know when to play Havoc. You have to know when to play Thena. I found when I was playing the different version of this, trying to time when to play Thena to avoid her getting Red Guardian is, I think, sometimes a bit of a challenge if you don't magically have, a -3 hood or something else down on the board. But against Thanos, like, this deck can do some severe damage, and considering how inexpensive it is, it's unbelievable. Now, I think we were talking about the hope that was for the previous deck, right? The Surfer deck, or was that for this one? Because I know I've
For
seen
the previous deck, it doesn't
Okay.
go in this.
Okay. Well, I've
'Cause you
I've
only wanna
seen
play
some
2
Havoc
cards a turn.
decks. Yeah. Well, I just know I had seen some of the Havoc decks that have Hope in there to give that extra energy to play the bigger cards near the end. I think that's the one with Iron Man in it as well, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is a very strong deck. I think, you run into some of the issues with, I think there's going to be a lot of affliction as well in, I think, this tournament. So I think that's one challenge. You don't have a lot of protection against that, and Man Thing could do some real damage to you in the lane. But I think it's, you've got the kitty to constantly ramp up the power, and they don't know exactly where you're going to place it. Now, if you run into a Negasonic and you don't have the right priority before turn 6, then you've got a risk there. But yeah, I think being able to play the Havoc and really kill that lane makes it really difficult to fight up against. And I've not had a lot of luck going against it, nor have I had a lot of luck playing this. But I think when it's played well, it can do some serious damage.
So you better have some real mental strength if you're going to play this in this type of tournament. You're going to be grinding out every goddamn game. This doesn't win 8 cubes, right? Like, this is like, I won 2, I won 4, I won 2, I won 4, and you're going to be playing a lot of long games, which is incredibly intense. There are 2 real card choices here. I mean, I guess 3, but like really 2. US Agent is often Surge. I am partial to US Agent right now. I think Mobius is going to be absurdly prevalent in this tournament. Not just in Thanos, but because like someone's going to try and bring negative and shit. I expect to see a just straight up lot of Mobius. And like I think Surge is going to look very bad in the tournament because of that. Because the +1 without the -1 is just not worth running. So I like US Agent better. The other thing, in regards to the Afflict, Burrs climbed to rank 12 and then tanked himself down to rank 30 with this like yesterday. He has Luke Cage in the Red Guardian spot. Just as a way to say, no one thinks I have that. Although, again, not as useful in the with the open deck list. But the idea is that Luke Cage in that spot says, I just beat Afflict. I get free roll Afflict, and you can on ladder win a lot of extra cubes that way. I was very partial to that when I played it. It's a change I made on my way to Infinite that I ended up playing because it was right after like the beginning of the season when Surge came out and everyone was on Afflict for a few days. So it was just like, oh, they're playing Afflict. I can snap them back, and they have no idea why. They're like, is this person incompetent? And then you just drop a loop on the last turn, and you're like, all right, thanks. None of your cards matter.
Mm-hmm.
Have a great day. Like Havoc is easily the biggest thing on the game now. So yeah, there's a lot of value there. I don't think that if you're not practiced with this, don't even look at it, right? But if you are good with this, you can do real well with it. Thoughts, or ready to move on?
Yeah, I think we're ready to move on. I think it's a good deck. I think it's going to be a really strong deck against Thanos, but I think it's going to be, I think it's like you said, it's going to be really hard.
I just dislike the open deck list, not gonna lie.
Ooh, repeat?
I just hate open deck lists. You take away so many surprise factors with that, or stealing cubes, especially if I need to grind till 4 a.m. I could fasten up maybe 1 or 2 games with a surprise card, but yeah.
So, next up, we have Nick's pick. It is a Roram deck. It's Roram's bounce deck, in fact. It is Hood, Sable, Hawkeye, Korg, Nico, Toxin, Falcon, although I believe there's one difference that there's a Grandmaster over the Falcon in Roram's. Agent Venom, Cassandra Nova, Sage, Beast, and Darkhawk. Falcon's better than Grandmaster right now because there's going to be an awful lot of Cosmo. Nick, why'd you pick it?
I mean, it's a Darkhawk deck. It's a Darkhawk Disrupt deck that throws rocks in their deck, messes up their draw, and is low enough power that you've got flexibility to move around. I think we talked about this last week with Cougar and Roram, just talking about the Falcon to be able to pull up those ones if they're somewhere else. I think we were talking about a similar version. No, it was the bounce version with Falcon. And I think that still works in here. You could hit with a Cosmo in a lane, and you've got a one that's dead there. That Falcon can bring it back up, even if you can't pull it up with Toxin and Beast. But I think being able to beast up a Sage that you played and have a bunch of power on and be able to sneak in is phenomenal.
Toxie?
I like the idea,
deep sighs.
I know there won't be that many people that are crazy enough to run a lot of decks that die to Mobius, but I still dislike the fact that we don't run really Mobius sync stuff, and we really rely on winning Darkhawk in one lane and Sage on the other one. I don't know. I like the bounce deck. I used to main bounce, but I don't feel like in like this tournament it could do well enough against most decks, especially with stuff like Cosmo running around in almost every Thanos deck, no tag to like a negative or some energy cheating deck. We are dying to so many different things. Even Afflict could do a lot of harm to us. So it could be fun if you are lucky enough to not queue into 2 of the most popular decks.
Ika?
Yeah, no, I like this deck. I do. I think it's a very well-made deck, and it functions very well. In the context of the tournament, it could do well. If you get like the right matchups throughout your 9 games, you could win 9-0. Like genuinely, this deck can go 9-0. All it takes is one bad matchup, though. I think the deck is very counterable. Let's put it that way. I think it can clean up Thanos. It definitely can. And like I said, if you run into like ongoing Thanos, actually probably like dies to this. Especially because you can also again hide power, right? Turn 6 can be very hidden. And ongoing Thanos also just doesn't run tech, right? They don't run Shang-Chi or anything. You can just drop that Darkhawk early on and then just do your turn 6 stuff. But there are decks that definitely can kill this, and you just have to be very smart about it. Like if you can pilot bounce very well, I think bringing bounce in general is like not a bad idea if you are good with bounce. But grinding over, like you mentioned, Glazer, grinding over 9 games to play something like bounce is very, very difficult. You have to have some stamina. That's for sure, because the thinking that you have to do, like this is maybe a little bit of a side thing, but like it's very underrated to bring, like there is a reason that people bring powerful, easy decks, because this is 9 matches we're talking about. You have to bring something that the decision making isn't too difficult, because if you run out of stamina by game 7, that, you know, like all it takes is like 2 losses out of the 9 games and you're just not getting the top cut, right? So if you have the stamina and you're good with bounce, definitely a great pick to go with.
This deck has one of the highest ladder win rates right now. It's absolutely crushing on ladder. Not in the biggest sample, but it's still doing really, really well on ladder. I don't know if I could bring this to the tournament because I feel like I'm ride or dying with Nico too much. Like,
yeah.
Like my big concern is if Nico's hitting that question mark when I get a limbo, then I'm winning games, right? That can't be stopped. If Nico's hitting that copy, that little plus sign, and I've got Cassandra or Sage, then I'm sort of winning those games, and like there's not much my opponent can do to stop me most of the time. But when Nico's just like wrong turn, or hiding, I feel like I'm in a lot of trouble because like Nico is a lot of my tech in this deck. And I don't know, I really miss Shadow King more than any other card here. I think Shadow King would be a really, really, really strong add, but he's also really hard to use if you're running Agent Venom, right? Like, it's just, I love Bounce. I think Bounce is probably right now a top 10 ladder deck. I don't know, probably. I think right now Bounce is a top 10 ladder deck because I spent my afternoon doing my top 10 decks in Marvel Snap for tomorrow's video, and Bounce is a top 10 ladder deck right now. So I think it's a top 10 ladder deck. I think that this could easily win every game of the tournament or flame out, and if you are good with it, it's like really, really worth messing with, like if you're not scared of that flame out potential. I think I totally told Philly to play this. He was like, what Darkhawk deck could I take? I was like, this is the best Darkhawk deck in the game. I don't think it's especially close. Outside Ika's Scream, I guess, is in the same general realm. But like that's just days, like real it's not as good against Surfer, right? Like this set can beat Surfer, the other one can't.
Yeah.
So yeah. Alright, we good?
Mm-hmm.
My pick. This isn't actually what I'm taking. I thought this was what I was taking, but it's not what I'm taking. I'm pretty sure I'm taking Elixir just so I can piss Ika off. But look, I gotta decide in the next few hours. I have like 7 decks I'm choosing from, but I'm like 80% sure I'm taking the Arnim Zola Elixir Afflict thing and just saying, beat me. You better play Luke early, otherwise my double, triple Lawfy doesn't give a fuck if you play Luke later.
You're going to be very shocked to hear what I'm actually probably going to bring too. But anyways.
What are you taking?
Oh, it's going to be a Pixie deck.
It's
of course it is.
Pixie in the Mobius meta. That's wild.
Oh,
yeah, I'm just going to take it because it's fun. If I'm going to be playing Marvel Snap,
I'm going to kill those Mobiuses. But anyways,
have fun.
Go ahead.
If I'm going to be playing for 7 or 8 hours, I'm going to play something fun. I just need to figure out what to cut for Ravonna because the deck desperately needs Ravonna because it can't rely only on magic, so it needs to have the either or. But yeah, that's like I'm pretty sure that's what I'm taking. However, what I shared is my second choice. It's the Agamotto Ultron Revis. I really like this kind of deck for a tournament. It is King Eitri, Quinjet, Iron Patriot, Penny. Yeah, Penny Parker, you heard it. Valentina, Agent Coulson, Luna Snow, Shang-Chi, Galacta, Sarah, Infinity Ultron, and Agamotto. Agent Coulson is straight up better as Surge. The stats are ridiculously better if it's just Surge. So pretend Agent Coulson is Surge. I didn't bother to update that before I did this. But yeah, this deck is really fun. The reason I really like it is because playing cards like Infinity Ultron and Iron Patriot and Valentina in a tournament give your opponent a crazy amount of things to play around. The reason I'm not actually taking it is because I really do think that this deck thrives as a Sarah deck. The Luna or Penny Parker into Sarah is a snap condition, and the more I think about it, the more Mobius I absolutely expect. Thoughts on deck? Let's go, Ika.
Yeah. Speaking of things that die to Mobius.
Yeah.
This gets cooked.
So bad. Like 5 cards.
Yeah. Yeah. But no, look, a lot of the cards in here actually is the cards that I'm going to bring in my Pixie deck, which is Infinity Ultron and Iron Patriot. What you mentioned there at the beginning, Laser, is exactly the reason I'm bringing those. Is in an open deck list, you need something to have information disparity. You need something to be like, you didn't see that coming, did you? And Iron Patriot does that in spades, and Infinity Ultron less so. I was playing that today, and like sometimes you just get some bad draws. But
I went 0-5 with it today. Infinity Ultron gave me 1 good stone in like the 5 games. It was just like orange and blue. The unrevealed, no unreveals in hand. Like it's like, oh my god, piece of shit.
The head games are there, right? Like if your opponent has to like give up an Infinity Ultron lane just because they think that you might double the power, or they play the Chi on turn 6 thinking that you're going to double the power, but you don't, right? Like these are plays that can win you games. Obviously, but Iron Patriot, very good. Iron Patriot is something that I knew that I was going to bring to begin with. It works really well in this deck. You have a lot of cards that you can play on tempo, and you can make sure that you get that Iron Patriot trigger. Obviously, again, Mobius is a thing that you have to be aware of, and it can kill a lot of the momentum for this deck. But sometimes you just have to go, hey, if it happens, it happens. They're not going to draw it all the time. And when they don't draw it, I'm going to try to get like the most cubes out of it as much as I can, right? So I like those kinds of decks. I really do think that if you're someone that's still deciding what to bring for a tournament or any future tournaments or anything like that, and it's an open deck list, think about cards that generate other cards. Information disparity, very important in an open deck list.
Tux?
I really like the idea. Like when we had to write our informations, I wrote as my favorite card Ultron, and I would love to run something with Ultron. The thing is, I kind of want to take it serious, and I don't want to start hating on my favorite card. So I might just take a break from him. But yeah, Patriot seems like Ika's right with that. Patriot is just so much info you can get around, and let's say you're not running against Thanos and you run maybe against like those Surfer decks or like those Ajax decks, especially against Surfer. Patriot could be like just a free -3 card at this point, because how is Surfer most likely contesting that? So only Patriot against Surfer seems such a good thing. But again, like with the likelihood that you really need to win 8 out of your 9 games, how likely is it that you maybe just once run against Morbius and the other 8 times not, especially because it's Swiss format? I would love to do something stuff like this, especially like this deck is like fairly easy to handle too. Like you run Luna, you see a Sarah in your hand, you just snap. If your opponent stays, you get 2 extra cubes out of that game. Or like if your high stacks 4 cubes, that's a big thing. That's almost half everything you need. So it has a lot of potential. Sadly, it's not right now the meta for it. But props to that cook. I really like it.
Thoughts? Nikki?
Yeah, I think this is a really fun deck. This, like Ika was saying, this is kind of where, Erisham comes in. It's like you're getting that Erisham without having to put a crap ton of cards in your deck. People have no idea what you're getting with Iron Patriot, no idea with Valentina, no idea with Coulson. Like the number of games that I've lost because they've pulled something that I did not expect would come out is ridiculous. Ultron, maybe you do get the stove that's actually really good and you can get it out there. Like this deck has counters. It has a lot going for it. If you can't get that ramp, like if you're in a conquest match and you see, oh, they've got Mobius, well, Sarah's dead, and then you just focus on something like Luna Snow or Penny Parker to try and ramp up. And yes, it renders Quinjet and Sarah useless, but when those games come and Mobius doesn't show up, then you've got some real power, and you pull out you pull your ball sack out and you've got that extra power as well. And I think that's the difference with this deck, is if you do run into Mobius, you have ways of getting around it if you pull those cards. The only thing I think that could make this deck a killer is if Agamotto had a way of getting some card draw in there, which is, I think, the biggest. Yeah, but that's once, and that's one card, and you're kind of like, well, I would like there to be a little bit more, but what else do you do? How else do you do that? I don't see any other way. But the information disparity, not knowing what you're going to get, because you could get with Iron Patriot, you could get another Shang-Chi. That's not a restriction. That's not something you're going to find in an Erisham deck unless they're also running Iron Patriot, which I know they mostly do. But yeah, no, I think this one can be really profitable because they just have no idea what you've got. They have no idea to play around it. You snap. What do you have? Do you have an Enchantress? Do you have, who knows?
Not even you. Yeah,
not even me.
I really wanted to take this. Sarah and Quinjet and Valentina and Iron Patriot all being turned off by one card is a lot.
Yeah, I think like knowing that it's an open deck list and knowing if your opponent has a Mobius, I think what you do basically is if you're getting discounted cards, you just play them right away, right? Like start filling up the board. If they're playing Mobius early, at least you know what the rest of the match is going to look like. If they're saving it for like a turn 5 or something, dump all the discounts,
I think the right answer is probably just don't take it, though.
Yeah, I'm still taking my Pixie, though. That's for sure.
Yeah, look, you're bold. You're bold as hell. That, no doubt. Hopefully you're running like a Luna or something, too, so you can get some of those expensive cards out.
Lady Deathstrike, too.
Yeah, there you go. Lady Deathstrike's going to do real well. Not against my
Question,
deck.
what do you
Against
guys,
those things. Oh,
percentage-wise, what do you guys think is going to be, like, maybe we should do a prediction of what percentage do you think is going to be Thanos, some level of Thanos or Arishem mix versus other decks? Is it going to be 90%? Is it just too easy?
it should be 70%, 70 to 75%. Like, I don't think it will be. I think Marvel Snap is janky enough and hasn't built a competitive culture, but it should be about 75%.
I feel like there might be a situation, and this is a kind of a weird one, but where people over-adjust for how much Thanos is going to be and do something that, like, they think that counters Thanos or something like that, and then all of a sudden, because many people think like that, Thanos representation all of a sudden is down because everybody's overcompensating for how much Thanos is going to be in the tournament. But I'm still expecting about 70%, 75% Thanos.
Yeah.
I played against people who run Thanos, but they run in their Thanos just attack Darkhawk for the mirror matches. People are crazy nowadays.
Yeah.
I just hope we see the Arishem Thanos Agamotto list.
Oh, God.
It would make me very happy if that list was fairly highly represented. But like, no, if you want to win and you care, you play Thanos. And slot in a Super Skrull.
Yeah. I think, honestly, sorry to cut you off there, but like, honestly, the deck that I was close to picking is just ongoing Thanos with Skrull and Kyra. And that's it. You cover all the matchups.
Yeah.
Do something about it.
What was that second card you wanted to? Yeah, there we go. I was gonna say,
if you take that deck, I want to see if you can win. I'll give you $10. I got your next season pass if you take that deck.
No, my integrity is more important.
But yeah, Super Skrull just covers almost every matchup that's bad for you. It's incredible in Thanos. Like, I think honestly that the non-ongoing Thanos should try and find a spot for Super Skrull too.
I hear there's somebody out of us four that has Super Skrull in his Thanos.
Wait, you have Super Skrull in your Thanos?
Yeah.
Are you the Sarah Thanos that's floating around?
No, I'm the Morbius Sandman Skrull Thanos.
Okay, there's a Sarah
Sandman
Thanos that's been doing really well lately that I was like, where did that one come from? Okay. All right, yeah, I'm so sick of covering Thanos decks, you have no fucking idea. Like, this month has been my least favorite meta in the last. I mean, when was the last time we had a truly broken meta? The meta hasn't been like bad in a really long time, right? Yeah, since Hella. That
Scar,
was like
Hella.
Months ago, right? Yeah, Scar. I guess Scar. Since but even then, Scar didn't have the play rate Thanos does.
No.
Yeah,
Thanos is always the biggest play
It's also
rate.
one of those things where, like, yeah, it's one of those things where, like, all of us here talk to and watch other pro players, and trust me, there are people who've been, like me, been playing so many different decks trying to crack the meta, and it's just kind of impossible. Thanos is just like overwhelmingly good.
I did a stats breakdown of a bunch of decks and like different cards and stuff, and it's just like everything has like a 3 to 4% lower win rate than you would think because that's just Thanos beating it.
Yeah,
it's just ridiculous. Yeah, OTA next Thursday, friends. So stay tuned to Snap Judgments, and we will review that for you right here on this pod.
I mean, the weirdest thing is look at screen players nowadays. How hard they have it.
I mean, you can't move Thanos' cards when their whole board is full.
Exactly. Like, I knew so many top 10, top 20 people who played Scream. Now they are like 400.
Yeah. I don't think so, Perry. Perry asks if he thinks we're seeing double-digit changes in the OTA. I think we're going to see a usual 7, but like, I think they're just. I'm going to be so fucking annoyed, but I think the first thing they're going to do is make Thanos 10 power and the Space Stone 1 power again. This is going to revert those two nerfs, and maybe I pray to God people stop playing it at that point, but I don't think they will.
Probably not.
Yep.
Like, I'm going to be so angry. Like, the OTA is going to be me like screaming the color of Vika's hat.
It's just going to be back to the Bullseye freak out when they didn't adjust Bullseye in the slightest, and then Bullseye immediately died off after they didn't.
I didn't freak out about Bullseye. I just thought they should have changed Bullseye and Scream.
You
I
were
didn't.
pissed. Okay, listen. You're not going to gaslight me on this. Perry, back me up on this, please. You were like, they need to nerf this card now.
Well, Bullseye was definitely OP for a little while there.
Yes.
That's fine.
It was.
It ended up honestly like when they increased the power of the meta enough that it wasn't always the like most points.
Yeah.
It balanced it out.
Honestly, the Modok nerf was impactful. Who would have thought? Like the dropping to 7 power Modok actually kind of nerfed it.
I think it was more that like Thanos came up, and when Thanos came up, Thanos was just like, "Oh, you're doing a lot of really, really combo-y things to get like to 30 points in a lane."
Yeah.
I didn't have to. Here's my 30 points. Stop it. And right. Oh, by the way, here's a Cosmo too. Good luck with that Dokken.
Yeah, that's true.
Like a Dokken mid wrecks that deck. Sorry, a Dokken mid, a Cosmo mid.
Yeah.
Is really like now they have one game plan, and if they don't see it, they're dead. Although I would not be shocked to see Bullseye do very, very well in the tournament.
You think with all of the Mobius around, I think that's the thing that I'm most worried about.
It's just got to hit hot matchups. If it rolls matchups hot, right? Like a lot of the decks that aren't Thanos can do well, but they have to roll hot matchups.
So would you run, if you were going to do a discard deck, would you run, let's say you were going to do Bullseye, what would you run? Would you run some level of tech to stop the Mobius, or just dip on those times?
You can't. They play Mobius, you run, but then they start playing Mobius on 5 if they're any good and you die.
Yeah.
You just lose that matchup. You have to hope to get lucky, basically. But like again, there's a lot of decks that can just roll hot matchups and run straight to the top. The thing is, if the whole top is Thanos and it is Swiss, by the end you're going to end up playing more Thanos mirrors. But again, you get lucky. You get a couple lucky matchups. You only get Thanos in the last round, right? Like, and all of a sudden you're 6-1 or whatever the nonsense.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, we're going to talk about the July season. It is the the Marvel's Fantastic Four First Step season. I want to thank Rez Snapper, who does amazing new card content. He made all of the First Steps cards as cards. I was just going to show a picture of the thing because there are no data mined images, so he made all of the cards if you're watching on YouTube and seeing the images. We're going to kick it off with the Season Pass card, who is Mr. Fantastic First Steps. I did not expect that last segment to take that long, by the way, everybody. Sorry, Toxie. I know that there's a bed waiting for you. Oops. It is Mr. Fantastic First Steps. He is a 2/3. End of turn, give a card in your hand +2 power or -1 cost. Let's go Toxie first, since I'm keeping him up.
Since it's not 8 a.m., I have time. I kind of like him. Like, we will see. You will read it more often, but he will be probably a really good card, especially in.
You're gone again.
I am.
Sorry.
Yeah, you're good.
He's good? Okay, good.
Okay.
All right, Ika, you're in charge of whether he's good or not for the rest of the show.
You will hear it more. Yeah, it's stormy right now. It's, I don't know. But anyways, you will hear it more often, but he will be probably a really good card in Surfer. If Surfer will be still relevant in July, I feel like he will be really good. You get like you can get a pocket Gwenpool, you get a better Fastest probably. Getting -1 cost on a free drop could be huge. +2 power on anything in Surfer is amazing. And except from Surfer, I'm not 100% sold on that card. I will probably definitely try it in Surfer. Anything else is really experimental, and I'm not sold, but at least he will be solid in Surfer, in my opinion.
So this is very interesting card. We're gonna get to the other ones, but the end of turn stuff opens up a real big Pandora's box, in my opinion. This card could be extremely busted. Let's just start there. It could be. It's very hard to judge right now because we don't know. We don't have that many end of turn cards that work the same way this card does, nor do we have cards that synergize like down the line in terms of the season. But this could be very busted. Very, very busted. It's very how do I say this? People underestimate the difference between changing cards in the deck and changing cards in your hand. Changing cards in your hand are way, way better because you know what you have in your hand. and you know what you're able to play on the following turns rather than guessing what you could draw. So in that sense, it's just clearly just a really, really strong card.
Yeah, the fact that this happens every turn, like a Marvel Boy, you're basically getting a Marvel Boy in your hand. When I was looking at this card before the pod, I was like, oh, well, gives a card. My brain was like, oh, that's only once. That's not good. But the fact that this happens every single time, you can get him out on 2. He avoids being Red Guardian. There's nothing else that can stop him because he is very easy to protect with just any small card against a Red Guardian hit. What else do you do? There's no other counters to him. You have, again,
let him Red Guardian him. You've got 18 other cards that are perfectly happy, like once you Red Guardian him, right? Like the world doesn't end. Same thing when they Red Guardian.
What I'm saying is,
Surge. I'm like, good for you.
But it's something that there's not a big counter against him. And every turn he's giving a card, +2 power or -1 cost. They don't know what you're getting. It's that information disparity that I have no idea what this card is doing for you. They can play a Mobius, but if you're focused on the power more than the anything else, exactly, toss him in and then you've got, we'll get to Sue Storm later, but yeah. I think this is going to be a really good card, but I think it's going to be, I'm intrigued to see where this goes. Could this make something like Shaw potentially useful again? Is this, do you move this into a full hand buff and does Shaw go back in there? I don't know.
So I don't actually want to evaluate this card because I don't know that I have anything to add. Especially, my question for the panel, and we can go in the same order, is I guess it's a multiple part question. Is this better than Surge? And does it matter? Do you just run both? Toxic.
I probably would run both, honestly. Like, it's again like card draw depending.
Yeah.
You probably can do both, and we're living in a world where you can decide what to run. Looking at your hand size, what you have right now, what you can work with, you can really well adapt if you draw both. But otherwise, you will probably always have like -1 cost if you're lucky enough with Surge or Fantastic. I would probably run both, honestly. Like, why not?
Yeah, if you can run both, sure, but this is better than Surge. Oh, but quite a bit, by quite a bit.
Even with the or? A card or 1 cost?
Yes.
Okay.
Why? Because Surge is not a guarantee to be always doing the thing. When you play Surge on 2, it could hit a card that you just don't want to play, right? Like, if you hit a Surfer, cool, but like, you're saving that for turn 6, so that's it. That was it. You did it once. Cool. This can just keep doing it. If you play it on curve, it just keeps doing it. You don't have to do anything. You don't invest anything into it, right? Like you're not spending any of your mental energy on this card. It's just doing it. That's it.
I personally I do like the idea of having him and Surge in there as a backup, and again, it creates that interesting loop of if you don't play that card that got Surge and it's in your hand, you're potentially knocking off a cost to that or adding another 2 power to it. And again, that opponent has no idea what's going on. But I think you are right, Ika. I think this does work as a more consistent version because, again, like you said, when we played those cards and we end up with, a Surfer that is, you're like, I want to save this for my last turn. I don't get to get that Surge buff. Or if they Cosmo that lane, Surge dies as well. Versus this, if they Cosmo that lane, you're happy because it's still doing its thing. So I think there's less counters to this, but I like the idea of having both of them in a deck just to create that extra level of uncertainty because, you get hit, this hits a surged card and you're laughing.
I think the answer is very likely to be run both as well.
Yeah.
The both I'm going to run, I'm going to run 3 2s in Surfer. It's going to be this Surge, and I'm going to run Sam still, right? Like, I see no reason to cut Sam Wilson. And if I really want to run the Heart version, then I can cut Sam and run Fenris. But I really do like Sam for Captain Carter synergy. So at the end of the day, I think this is, look, this shouldn't be a 2-3. right? Is
Yeah,
ultimately what
no.
it comes down to.
Yeah.
Like, this is like, we love selling season pass cards, and this one is a big Marvel property, is what this is.
Yep.
Yeah, this is gonna be like crazy good, I would assume. I really, really hate the ore. I genuinely wish it was just +2 power or -1 cost. I don't need both. Just pick one, and I would be a happier person. I don't like the ore, but outside of that, I'm for it.
I'm assuming that's
happy-
there to balance off its benefit.
Yeah, I get it. Just stating a preference. I'm not saying it'd be like, I don't know if it'd even be better if it was just one, right? Because there's gonna be a lot of games you win in Marvel Snap where it's just like, oh look, my 4/2 Iron Man is here, and then I've got a 4/3 Iron Man from oh, this actually seems reasonably nasty with Esme, no?
Mm-hmm.
I don't see why anything can't be nasty with this. Like, honestly, this is just like good card.
Yeah, good card. Deck.
Yeah, like just put it in a deck. Put it in a deck.
I'm happy at least it's fantastic.
Yeah,
like
you're
it's
a
like
boo-boo.
a well-known card.
Mr. Fantastic. Get used to seeing that lovely epic beard. All right. This is just a quick list of end of turn cards because there will be end of turn synergies throughout. Mr. Fantastic, Thing, and Torch First Steps are all end of turn cards. Adam Warlock is an end of turn card. Atuma, Black Cat, Bruce Banner, Doom 2099, Isan, Havoc, Hydra Bob, Makari, Marvel Boy, Red Hulk, Strange Supreme, Sunspot, Thunderbolt Ross, and Thena. None of those scream out to me as especially good with this card, right?
Mm-mm.
But like, just worth knowing as we go forward.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't super hate the idea of Adam Warlock with this, just for the record. I don't love it, but I don't super hate it. Oh my god. Hang on.
Uh-oh.
Fuck Surge. This in the fucking Havoc deck is going to be wild.
Mm-hmm.
It's just so much better than Surge in that deck, because in that deck you're going to like wait on your wow. Yeah, that's crazy. Holy crap. All right. Let's keep going with Herbie. Herbie is I believe, this is the other card that comes out the same week. What we used to call Spotlight cards. Do they still call them Spotlight cards? Am I making that up? No, just new card.
Yeah.
Whatever. The new card that comes out in for 6,000 tokens the same week. 5,000 for me, 6,000 for you guys. It is 2 cost, 2 power. Each turn this is in play, swap to new activate until one is used. The activates are double this card's power, create a rock with 4 power. Next turn, you get +2 energy, and give your cards at adjacent locations +1 power. Ika.
It seems okay. It's definitely one of those cards where we have to get our hands on it. We have to play it. We have to see how it functions. A lot of the activate cards are really hard to predict because it's really hard to judge the curve and hard to judge like what it feels like. Feeling is a big part of activate cards. I like it on paper. It's nothing like insane or powerful. It's nothing game breaking. Looks cool. I don't think any of the things that it does is necessarily unique. Right? Like we've seen other cards do similar things. I wish it would did something cooler, but yeah, it seems okay.
Tox.
I really like his ability. He reminds me a lot of Nico, and I kind of like the versatility of Nico. Although I really like them, it often gets like frustrated if you don't get like the stuff you want. My only issue is like, first look, he can do good stuff, but my first idea is just like, he's a 2-drop, sadly. And in a game where we have Sam, where we have Iron Patriot, where we have now Mr. Fantastic, Surge, we have so many better 2-drops. So him being a 2-drop is actually not good for him. That's like my biggest issue. He fights against like demons over there. He can't beat those demons, sadly. Look at his cute face. How shall he ever beat like Mr. Fantastic, probably? But otherwise from that, I like his design.
I think you might be wrong, but we'll get there. Nick?
Okay.
I think this is going to be fun.
Wait to
Again, it's
see.
that information disparity. You don't know if the Nico has the destroy spell, the double her power, and you're going to do crazy stuff. You
Well,
just
it's going to
have
change
no
on board. They would know.
Will they know?
Yeah, why not? It's sitting
It
on
has to be in
board.
play.
Yeah, I guess
You
that's
need to
fair.
activate it too, yeah.
So they'll know. There's no information disparity for it.
Yeah,
I guess
it
that's
has
true.
to be in play. It has to be in play.
I mean, it's activate, so even if it extra has to be in play, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I think stuff like the activate GIF your cards at adjacent locations +1 power. I think that could be interesting. I don't think it's going to be a bad card. Like, this doesn't strike me as one of those cards that's 100% just a garbage card. I think there's potential. I think it's going to be a fun card to use. I think the cycling through activates is a much better solution than cycling through in your hand. Because if it's cycling through and it's on the board, at least then you can use it. Versus something like the original Snow Guard where she was in your hand, I think was less ideal. And because this has a higher upfront cost than Nico, it allows you to have him on the board and kind of plan what you want to do. But the problem is you get him on the board, you go to use him, and you're on turn whatever, matching up what you need and what could benefit you is a little bit hard. Plus, is this the 2-drop you're going to want to play? There's 2-drop is the hardest. I mean, we've talked about this a million times. 2-drop is very difficult to handle. Or choose what is going to be in your deck. And I don't know if this beats out any of the other 2s that would go in a deck that you'd put him in.
So Surfer should love this. Like buff Surfer in particular, but like all Surfer should love this. Double this card's power if this gets hit with any like an incidental buff. Okay, it seems pretty nice, right? Like every power gets doubled by more than 2. The rock that it creates goes right behind Captain Carter really well. The 2 energy gives you 2 3s on turn 5. Or an extra 2-drop on turn 6. And your cards at adjacent locations +1 power. If you stick Carter next to it instead of in the same lane as it, that's really good, right? That's +3 power just alone on Brood. I think that or you can run Shaw and then it's a 3 power on Shaw, right? Like, I think that this is a reasonable Surfer card. I think people are going to sleep on it because, I mean, it comes out with a broken card, right?
Mhm.
Like, anything that's not broken, where it's like, I don't know if this is going to be good. I think this is almost guaranteed to be good in Surfer. The question is, can Surfer afford to run it? Like, Surfer doesn't really care about the double discards power, right? Outside of buff Surfer, it doesn't care about that. But everything else here is at least very good for Surfer. Like, I really like to give your cards at adjacent locations +1 power for Surfer. Like, a lot.
I
The
like the
problem is going to
energy
be
the most.
getting it to the right turn. Yeah. The energy is
feel like
the most, like, generically good, right?
Energy will help you in every deck. Otherwise, from that, it's like really, really specific. The good thing is it has only 4 activates, so you can at least go mentally through the cycles. Like if you maybe don't play him out immediately on turn 2, and you see what next thing he has, it's like a 50-50 gamble. Okay, if I don't play him out on like maybe 3, I might miss the energy part. So that's at least better than a Nico, where you might just never get the location change with the cycles. So I kind of like it. It's like only 4 cycles.
Yeah, I genuinely think he's going to be good. And he's going to be totally slept on and everyone's going to ignore him. And then eventually someone will put him in a deck and people are going to be like, oh shit, he's really good. Like, it's just everything but double discard's power is really good. And double discard's power has potential. There's locations and shit that make that incredibly strong.
You really want to make us sell Naki Okoye gameplay again, huh?
And Lasher.
Yeah. Look, I love Lasher. I'm Lasher's biggest fan.
You and 4 other people are really happy right now.
Me and Butt are sitting there like, Lasher MVP. We would have thought Lasher would be an Ika card, but Ika's not fun anymore. It's just stuck on Pixie. Pixie this, Pixie that. Yeah, Splat's into it. Here we go. Oh, Wombat's into it. We got people that like Lasher. Damn it!
I still like Lasher.
It's a really
but nobody plays it.
I play it every so often. I play it like at least once a season. I play it for like a day. It's more than I play a lot of cards at Marvel Snap. I'm not sticking Colossus in a deck once a season.
That's fair.
All right. Enough Herbie, I guess. We are going to have to agree to disagree. And now it is the 3,000 token Series 4 cards, which we assume are coming out day one of the season, but who knows? It could still be some of these in events. They could randomly, like this season, be like, we're going to release these at the start of next season. Haha, for no fucking reason. It is Mad Thinker, who is a 1/1. At the start of each turn, gain +2 power if your hand is full after you draw. Toxie?
He is like a picture-perfect Series 4 card. He could be like winnable in like some game mode. Like, hey, you got a new card. Hey, you don't use it probably. I don't know. He screams like play like a Dino archetype with Kahori, but then again, you play like 2 meme cards, now you have 3 meme cards. You can build some content with him, but who are we making something up with? How do you fill up your hand fast enough to make him relevant? Except maybe
You play
Thanos.
Thanos, and he's
Thanos.
a 1/5.
Yeah, that's it. Like play Thanos, but maybe Thanos won't be relevant till then. Who knows? But yeah, he's just like picture
If
perfect.
Thanos
Series
is still
3.
relevant in July,
Yeah.
I'm gonna be like, hey, Pokemon Pocket, I missed you. Oh my god, I can't fucking mentally handle that.
Depends. Do they have a big bundle coming out for Thanos between now and July? We'll figure out that.
They do not. Ika.
There you go. Thanos is dead.
Yeah, no, this one's a rough card. Hopefully that they change something about it. Just leaves a like why? Even if I do this consistently, why? Why do I want
Wait,
a one? What is it, like 6?
Ika, can you do like Agatha Thanos gameplay with him? You fill up 2 cards already in your hand, so your hand is faster full.
Fundamentally backbreaking. That's what that is. No, this is look. It can get played, but I don't. We're past in this state of the game, and not just this meta, in general. We're past the scaling ones the way this one scales. Like Batroc is cool, but Batroc does.
I was like, Batroc came out
Yeah.
2 weeks ago.
But Batroc does something else too. It helps your Kraven. It helps your Hydra Stomper.
Mhm.
This is not help. This is just the card. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I saw this one and I was looking. I didn't see that it was a Series 4 card, but that makes a whole lot of sense. I think this one is going to be a card that languishes for a while until they do something else, which they probably never will because it's a Series 4 card. I'll still get it because of course I will. But yeah, I think this is going to be one of those ones that I'm going to have to try and figure out how to play a couple games of to get enough boosters so that he just sits there and goes away. I don't know. Maybe I can't even think I can't even see him being good in Zoo because with Zoo, you're very rarely having a full hand. Like, I don't know. I don't. Where does he fit? Where does he go? I don't know.
Into a
So
collection.
Card of the Cards notes that Merlin will add a card to your hand every turn. It's possible that Merlin fills your hand up fast enough that Mad Thinker matters. If you go Mad Thinker on 1, Merlin on 2, that would be, ideally every turn from 3 on, your hand is full. 3, 4, 5, 6, you're adding 8 power, you have a 1/9. That seems extraordinarily unlikely. I'm not about this card's life. This is Kang level. Right?
The weird thing is too, like with 1 costs, you don't want them to be good too at the same time, because as soon as a 1 cost card is good, Killmonger is just extremely prevalent.
Mhm.
And now you have to start thinking about that, like.
And now you have to be Ika and run Kyera.
Yeah, now. So, like, I guess you kind of want this card to be just bad enough that if you play it, you're gonna be okay. I don't know. It's weird way to put that.
Also, I know this isn't the real art. I never realized how terrible Mad Thinker's character design is.
Yeah.
It is not an attractive character design. All right, I'm gonna move on from this piece of shit because, like, how long are we really gonna talk about fucking Mad Thinker? I like Mad Thinker in comics, in fairness. All right, now a cool card. It is the Fantastic Car. This is another one of our Series 4 things. A 4/6 activate. Give your end of turn cards +2 power. Its best current target, by the way, is Makari. Nick, go. Yeah, I shook it up.
Oh, you did shake it up. A 4/6 is nice that can get hit with Zabu, but what are you running? What are you removing to run this? I mean, the body is good. Again, 4/6 is not bad, and I'm sure it's going to be a fun card, and it's definitely another activate card. So if you're collecting those activate cards, then hey, here's a card for you. But I don't know. It does it once, and what's the biggest number that you can get out of this, and what would you choose? Again, what would you choose to
If you
take
could run
out
an
for
end
this?
of turn, if you could run an end of turn deck, right?
Yeah,
It could be like a +8.
yeah, that's true. With
That's only
this
4
is
end
true.
of turn cards.
And hold on, because that wouldn't work for. Wait, does work for Herbie, doesn't it? Because at end of turn he changes his abilities. All right, maybe there's something there. But yeah, again, what do you remove to put this in there? And
Ika?
I think this is just the worst Kahori, right? Like I feel like you would just want to run a Kahori instead. It's so much easier to play, so much better. 4 cost activates are almost impossible to make good. We do have some that are good and some that are playable, but like for a card that does such small buff, let's say, it's not doing a powerful enough thing for you to be like, you know what? I will sacrifice some of the dead draws with this card just so I can get those pop-off moments where I play this on 4 and I activate and I do the good thing. You are basically you can play this on 2 turns. That's the fun, right? Unless you Zabu or something. And I don't think it's powerful
Surge.
enough to yeah, I mean, okay, yeah, sure.
Hit it on 3 with Mr. Fantastic immediately.
Yeah. Definitely. No, it's just not powerful enough to justify. That's
all. Toxie.
The last time I was here, I ranted about Activate 4 drops. I tried to not rant again, but I don't know. Like, you could maybe do it with Mr. Fantastic, some fun stuff, but overall, nah. Again, Picture Perfect Series 4 card. Get him, don't use him, be happy, I guess.
Look, if the end of turn deck is real, I could see this finding a home there. I don't expect the end of turn deck to be real. They don't do a good job of populating new deck types like that, where they're like, this new archetype is going to be its own mechanic and build its own decks. They don't really do things that way, right? Like, so they'd have to release, like, they're releasing 3 end of turn cards this season, 4 end of turn cards this season. They'd have to release like 7 or 8 more that all sort of synergize with end of turn for it to really matter. And I just don't see them really doing that. And if they don't do that, then what are we doing here? So I don't expect Fantastic Card to matter. Still cool. I'll be happy to own it because it's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Like, unlike Mad Thinker, I'll be happy to own this one. Alright. Speaking of cards I'll be happy to own, it's the Moleman! And props to Red Snapper for choosing this art of the Moleman. Moleman is one of the funniest Marvel characters around. He is a 3/3 on reveal. Banish the top card of your deck. Add 2 rocks to your hand and set the power of the banished cards. Set the power to the banished card's cost. So at most you have 2 1/6 rocks. Yeah? I mean, I guess at most you have 2 1/8 rocks if you banish Death. Does that make sense? Ika looks confused. Why do you look confused, Ika?
wait.
The
Well, I'm
power
just
of the
confused.
rocks you get have the power of the banished card's cost. So if you banish an 8, the
Okay,
rocks are 1/8.
Right.
You're not
right.
banishing Death. Let's not get cute. But like,
Yeah.
you'll be running it in a deck with some 6s ideally at that point. And they made it banish, so you can't just use this as like, haha, no, destroy.
Yeah.
Or a discard and then be like, haha, hella. But if you banish Infinite, you just have a 2 1/6 rocks. The power does not matter. Toxie.
And that's like the only Series 4 card out of that three. I really kind of want to do experimentation on it, and I feel like it could be fun. I could imagine just trying some RAM stuff with like higher 6-drops and stuff, like maybe like some Electro, Luna, War Machine stuff. That could be like really something good. Otherwise from that, 3-3, Statline meh. Effect is fun. We die to Shadow King. Happens, but I feel like he's worth experimentation. Except of the other twos, he should be worth to at least spend like 2-3 hours on his card and find like a good shell. And I'm fairly confident he will probably be the best out of the 3 cards, for sure.
Ika?
Yeah, so here's the thing. The cards that, like you mentioned, right? The cards that you would want to run with this is like 6 costs. Something like that, right? Like higher cost. But then if you're getting 2 rocks in your hand, how are you utilizing those when you have so much high power cards in your deck? You know what I mean? Like it gets into a situation where you're like, oh, this would be really cool, like in a Victoria hand deck where I can play a bunch of those cards. But then Victoria hand decks are like really low cost cards, so that you at best you're like getting like like a misery, like you banish misery and you're getting like a 4 power. Like that's, I guess,
1/4s that you turn into 2 1/6s seems like a good deal to me.
Yes, but then that's like you're hitting. That's like you gotta hit the nut draw for that. Most likely you're gonna hit like a 1 or a 2 cost, right? Like, and sometimes you might even hit your own Victoria hand.
He fills your hand for the Mad Thinker.
We're cooking with some instant ramen noodles here. Yeah, I don't know. This one's just a weird one.
I think it's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to the animation on it. I'm sure it's going to be great. I hope at least they've been hitting it out of the park with some of the animation recently. So I think that could be really fun as to how it works. I think this is not going to be an easy card to use. And I think I can't see this being powerful enough to put Howard back in the deck, but I do think that like you said, it does generate in the deck anywhere, just anywhere. Sorry, Perry. But I don't know. I think there's potential because depending on how it's seen by the other end, I'm assuming the opponent, like with the other banished cards, they'll see what you've got. So they will know what you've got in your hand. But I mean, at the end of the day, there's still 2 rocks, and that's still a card that you lost. And what card is it that you're putting in there? What card is it that you're wanting to hit? What deck archetype does this fit in?
So what you hit might as well be the bottom card. Unless you're playing against Mill, it does not matter. Like the top card is just as likely to be the bottom card. It's one of those things that feels worse, but isn't actually any worse.
But you're giving info is the only info.
You are giving info. I'm gonna look in a Victoria hand deck. It's probably about equal. Like it's a little worse, but not significantly worse than running Kate Bishop.
Yeah.
So like I run Kate Bishop, and those I'm probably gonna run Moleman. Like what does it hit? Who cares? I just got 2 free 1-drops that are buffed by Vicky. Thanks. Have a great day. I run Kahori in those decks anyway. Now I've got 2 extra cards in hand. If I hit Kahori, like I'm perfectly happy with that. Like once in a while it's gonna hit Moonstone, I'm gonna be mildly annoyed and fucking fine, right? Like I'm gonna run it in Victoria hand. I think it genuinely goes in those decks. Like not like as a meme, as a good card. There's not really a card I want to play on 3 fairly often in those decks if I don't Frigga.
I'm ready for Moleman Wiccan.
Yeah.
I will bring back Wiccan with him.
Until Moleman hits Wiccan 80% of the time.
Doesn't matter. Might as well have been the bottom card of the deck. You just if you're gonna play Moleman, that has to be your thought process. You're giving them information, which sucks, which is the downside. But what card it is, as far as whether you drew it or not, should not matter. It's just like Yondu, where it's like, all right, oh my god, they hit my key card. Or I guess back when Yondu was random. People be like, I'm getting rid of their cards. No, you're fucking not. It doesn't matter. Like that might as well be the bottom card of their deck. It's a card they would have never seen unless they're playing Mill or like whatever. There's not really drawn marbles. It doesn't exist. All right. Torch. Hey, we're back to real cards. Human Torch is a Series 5. I'm just going to call them Spotlight cards so I can stop doing this. 3/2. Everyone get ready to go crazy. End of turn, +1 power. Once per game. If your side here is full, double this card's power instead. Ika?
This is crazy, right? Like, I feel like this is like really good. Maybe I'm going crazy. I feel like this is like auto include in every Surfer deck, maybe, right? Like,
Oh wait, Surfer? God, yes.
right? Like, you just put in Surfer all the time. Like, bye Shaw if you ever even had a chance to be in any Surfer deck, because this is just gajillion times better than that. And Surfer, we were talking about this earlier. Surfer wants cards you play on curve, and this is a card you play on curve. Easy. That's all I got.
Toxie?
Yeah, I said it was fantastic. We will hear that often. He's, as Ika said, a perfect Surfer card. Maybe you can experiment and do like fun stuff with Zoo to fill up your lanes, but overall, yeah, he and Surfer will go hand in hand probably.
End of turn decks. Sorry, Nick?
Yeah, hands down, this is going to be a crazy card. I can't wait to see some amazing things happening with this. Because you could technically fill that lane and bounce him back up and double his power and just scoop him out of potentially Shang-Chi range. And yeah, I'm intrigued to see. Yeah, combine this with something that adds that end of turn power. I think this combined with the season pass card is going to be crazy. And I think they're going to have to make some quick adjustments if it's as good as it seems like it's going to be.
Yeah.
So what I was complaining about earlier with Surfer not having 3s it wants to play on 3, problem solved. Right? This is just like, all right, cool. I'm going to play this on 3. The problem is going to be I want to fill the lane, but I don't have to fill the lane, right? Like, I want to fill the lane. A lot of times opponents are also just going to avoid that lane on the assumption you're going to be going big there. And you'll be able to win with a lesser commitment. If you play this on 3 and you never get the double, that's a power on turn 3, 4, 5, and 6. You just played a 3-6, right? That's not great. 3-8 with Surfer. Okay. It's like you played a generally mid card at that point. But you affected how your opponent had to play that game for the rest of the game. And now, like, that's extremely powerful.
We could even argue he's just like an easier speed at this point. Like, speed is a 3/3 where you have to play every turn for +1. He's just a better speed.
Yeah. Well, speed gets power in hand the turns before, right? Torch has to be played out. And speed starts with 1 more power. So that's at the end at least 3 less power than speed can be.
But he doubles it.
But he can double,
the nice
which
thing
puts
is
him well above speed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you don't play all your energy, this guy still gets his. I see. If this one's played early enough, I would much prefer this over speed. Plus, you can't Enchantress this one.
No, but you can't Shadow King it.
This is true.
Also, like, think about it like even as a turn 6 finisher. If you have 3 cards in a lane, you pop this down. Doesn't this technically go to
4?
Wait, actually, how would that work? Would it double at the end of the turn?
Yeah, it's end of turn. Instead, if your side here is full, double this card's power instead of the +1. So it would just be a 3/4 at that point. If you just played it at the end of the game. Although if you Surfered it, you played it in Surfer, now it's going to be a 3/8 immediately.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Right. So it's like a Sage, in that sense, in that way. If you were ideally playing Sage in a 3-card lane anyways, right? So yeah, I don't know. This just seems like super good.
Yeah,
this looks like it's the Strange Supreme for Surfer in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Well, if there's one fucking card Surfer didn't need after getting Captain Carter, it's a Strange Supreme. So get ready to be talking about number 1 ranked player, Heart of the Card Snap, in that season.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Galacta's buff on him.
Yeah, jeez.
Just now he starts as a 5. He goes to just 6/7, but now he's a 14. It's pretty fucking solid.
Yeah.
Honestly, it might be enough to like. This is the kind of reason I think Herbie is decent. You know what I mean? Just get that extra rock or that extra power on him. I just think that's like a reasonable thing to do.
Yeah, any
just-
power is double, right? So that's
Yeah.
right.
Mm.
Yeah.
Well, and if not, you're getting that rock to help fill the lane.
Yeah.
Like you see rock, you activate rock, then you play torch in that lane. Now you only have one more spot in that lane, but that lane is so hard to compete with because now you had a 6 power 2-drop, right? And now you've got this like eventual 14-ish power 3-drop.
Yeah. Almost like they thought about the synergies with the
Wow. Well, hey,
Look.
that's kind of new.
I mean,
yeah.
is this card good? So the answer is no. But like this almost makes Fantasticar look good, right?
Mhm.
Fantasticar gives this what amounts to +4 power.
I guess so, yeah.
Yeah, I think the
Get those
numbers are
Shadow
going to
Kings
go
ready.
crazy. Yeah, that's why you pack Cosmo in. Like was said,
Whoever Marvel Snap's
Cosmo's a
devs
3-drop.
really like the Human Torch. Is what the answer to this one is. This is probably card of the month, right? I think this is better than Mr. Fantastic, even if Mr. Fantastic goes in more shit.
Yeah.
Guess we have to
2
all
more cards.
play Moon Girl and Shadow King at this point.
Yeah.
Mm.
The Thing, the ever-loving blue-eyed thing. 5/6, end of turn, +2 power, once per game. If your side is full, destroy an enemy card here with lesser power. There is no instead there.
Mm.
So, I don't know who went first last time. Nick, you definitely did.
I think this is going to get well. See, I was going to say I think this is going to get big, but at a 5 cost, unless you're putting him in a ramp deck, you're not bringing him out early enough to do a ton.
5/10.
Yeah, but yeah, and I guess you fill that lane with the shield or something else, and then you move it out, and you've still got a beefy card that's, you play this on 5, it gets that +2 buff, you fill the lane, it kills something that's 8 power or less, and that's not bad. That's pretty good, and that would take care of a card that is protected by Cosmo. Cosmo doesn't affect this, so I think is this outside of Atuma, is this one of the only cards that destroys without needing a on reveal effect? Thanks, mate.
2099.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh right, I forgot that.
Never
card
forget
exists.
20. Well, because that's what I've been comparing him to in my head.
Yeah.
Right.
Except you don't have to move him, and all you have to do is fill his lane, and that is so much easier to do.
I don't know if that's true.
Assuming you're putting him in that end of turn deck with something like Herbie and Torch, I don't know.
Well, okay. Sorry, I'm gonna go now, but I want to fill his lane and I want to fill Torch's lane, and I basically never want those to be the same lane. How do I do that?
Surfer.
The answer happened in chat because people love saying shit right before I say it. But Thanos. Thanos is the answer, right? Isn't that the answer? Like Thanos is perfectly happy to have this giant Human Torch, incidentally. Right? Thanos is
hit
perfectly
your curve,
happy
so
to have a
on...
5/10 destroy a card, win a lane, incidentally.
I wonder, does this...
So I think Torch goes in Surfer. I don't think this goes in Surfer. I don't know where this goes. I don't think End of Turn deck is real, straight up. I just don't believe it. Maybe in another season or two, we can come back and revisit. But for the time being, Surfer doesn't fill every lane, right? And I don't really want 5/10s in Surfer. That's not what we're about. We're not about that life. So where do I want to play this that I'm filling things? Maybe no, that doesn't work. I was like Sarah Mysterio, but Luna. You can Luna with it, sure. It's better than Infinity Ultron, right? It's just straight up better. Infinity Ultron's best thing is doubling its power. And this thing is well, I'm not quite double, but if you count the destroy, it's probably basically the double. I just don't know where to put it outside of Thanos.
Look, there's something to be said just about just simply having a 5/10.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
A 5/10 that can't be shocked.
Right. Yeah. Physically, exactly. You can't chunk this, right? Because it's end of turn. I don't know. There's something to be said about that. It's not bad, right? Potential to also destroy. It potentially can be a better cannonball, right? A little bit more power. And yes, of course, it doesn't hit the highest power card like cannonball does, but like it could be a good alternative for decks that fill up the board. To play this like a cannonball.
What are the decks that fill up the board? Is my real question.
Yeah, I mean, other than Thanos or like Zoo,
That's my real problem here.
like Mysterio
Thanos,
decks.
Yeah. Then when are you playing? Like you're playing, but it's a 5. So like when are you playing Mysterio?
6.
Well, that seems like a problem considering how Mysterio decks work.
Like,
See,
not necessarily. Like you could play like the
Mysterio
monkey stuff, right? Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know.
And also, all you got to do is fill his lane. Like that's the thing is, if you chances are whatever deck he's in is going to have Cap Shield.
But if I'm just trying to fill lanes, right? I'd rather play the 3 that becomes a lane winner when I fill it than a 5 that becomes a lane winner when I play it.
Mm-hmm.
Luna, Heart's very good. Luna can actually just fill his lane.
Well, that's what I said.
No, but I thought you meant like Luna to ramp him out.
No, I meant like legitimately just to fill up the lane.
Oh, yeah, no, that's not bad at all. That actually works. Then he just blows up the opponent fucking ice cube, and you just put your head through a wall, right?
That's still not bad.
Yeah. Toxie?
I feel like Second Dinner really wants to sell us Torch, but they somehow have like issues with Thing. Like, I don't know.
They don't like him.
They don't like the Thing. I feel like we will just cope a little bit with Zoo, but I don't know. If Thanos is in July still a thing, I won't be happy. But it might be like the easiest answer. Only thing, he's probably out of the Fantastic Four. He's probably the one that needs Mr. Fantastic the most with the cost reduction, like getting him out a little bit cheaper and stuff. That could be like really good. He probably wants it the most. Otherwise, from that, 5/10 is like fine-ish, but I don't know. Without the sure destroy effect, I don't feel like he will make the big cut.
I want him to be good very badly. Thing is one of my favorite characters. And like he's cool. This is really cool design. I just can't get my head around a deck that isn't like end of turn deck. Or Thanos, but fuck Thanos. The last card we're going to talk about is Invisible Woman First Steps. She is a 3/4 activate. This turn, your end of turn abilities happen twice. So, Toxic, tell us about Sue Storm.
I really want to try her, and maybe I'm coping, but she could make High Evo good. Like, we have, like, maybe I'm coping with Banner, but isn't, like, High Evo Cyclops end of turn 2? So we can get double Cyclops High Evo there going. That's, like, already a lot. I have no idea how, like, Banner could work too. With Mr. Fantastic and a cross reduction, it's easier to float with High Evo. It always was, like, the issue, like, how do you want to float? Floating is bad. That Fantastic and her can make it better. Plus, I need to see the interaction. How is Sunspot working with her? Can we do like more with Sunspot with her? Can we just, I don't know, skip like 3 and get like +6 or something? So I feel like she could be the key to make Haiwa good.
Wait, that's a good point.
Yeah, I was cooking. I did my homework.
I didn't even think about Sunspot. Yeah, no, honestly, I didn't even think about Sunspot. Like, if that works the way that works, like, that could be really good for High. Like, you played this out, you turn this on turn 5, I guess, because that's when you're skipping your energy. All of a sudden, your Sunspot is like, 10 power, 10 plus power. And then you play your turn 6 like you usually would with your She-Hulk, whatever, right? Like, I could definitely see that. Yeah. I mean, just from beyond that, also just generally speaking, that's just also pretty good. Even with the cards we talked about, I don't know. I feel like that could be good. Seems good. Seems like a good card.
I'm going to, instead of leaving this on screen, I'm going to scroll all the way back to our end of turn abilities, and we can mentally add Cyclops. These are our end of turn abilities. Oh, I guess
Yeah.
High Evo Hulk would be an end of turn ability too, right?
Athena?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Twice procs.
Yeah, double Athena,
Double Marvel Boy is pretty good.
double Adam Warlock, draw 2 fucking cards. It's real nice.
Is there anything that with Dracula that can be done? Would Dracula discard twice?
Dracula is end of game.
End of game, right? Yeah.
I was also thinking Nebula, but that's also not an end of turn.
Ooh.
Although I wonder, would Nebula
Athena
be better
Havoc.
at an end of turn? Yeah.
Nemeon, I don't know how to say your name, friend. Nemeons says Athena Havoc deck, where you're just like, all right, cool. +6 and +8.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you put because you probably want to put the Mr. Fantastic in that deck too.
Mhm.
And
And
that's, well, I
maybe
mean, I
you-
guess then you would, no, that doesn't matter anyways, actually. Never mind.
Yeah, last turn it wouldn't matter. for
Yeah,
Mr.
it's the last
Fantastic,
turn.
But like,
It doesn't matter, yeah.
but you might run Torch there now over like one of
True.
the other cards, right?
Yeah.
And just be like, if I might as well now.
Yeah.
Honestly, I feel like the people will all focus
So-
on Human Torch, but I feel like we are cooking with gas with the Invisible Woman. Like,
I have
she
no
has
idea what
probably
he's saying.
more.
Oh, nope.
This time you're breaking
Toxic.
up.
Yeah, that was
Not
not a
again!
word,
Yeah.
Toxic.
Ugh.
Not a single word of that. I don't know is what we got. You sounded like a cartoon character, like
That's
a
his
cartoon
end
adult.
of turn ability.
Next time I will
Um,
check the weather, how it will be.
Look, we can hear you now.
Yeah, you're good now.
Yeah, it's stormy here. I hate it. I feel like everybody will focus on Human Torch, but she will have a lot of potential. Maybe even more potential than Torch.
I mean, for Bruce, does she like re-trigger your chance at bruising? Because that's another evolutionary upside.
That's what I said, yeah.
Bruce says end of turn, right?
Like,
Yeah.
but like, if Bruce doesn't trigger, she's like, all right, let's try again.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
you're
more.
making it
That's more high Evo upside, right?
66%, right?
Or 33% twice, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's 66%, but I'm not going
Yeah.
to have to know for sure. So
Yeah.
if it's not, but yeah, like, yeah, high Evo. I think there's at least an alternate version of the Havoc deck, and then if end of turn becomes a thing,
Imagine Doom
This-
2099, just Doom bots everywhere.
Also, like, how does it work with? Well, actually, hold on. Yeah, never mind. I was gonna. Yeah, never mind. I'm good.
Honestly, Double Strain Supreme isn't the worst thing in the world, right? It's like eat and gobble gobble gobble.
I don't
Cat
know
doesn't
if you
seem to do
need
much.
that much more. Like I've had situations where
Gobble,
it's like,
gobble,
hey,
gobble.
Strange, can you just chill? Don't eat that one. Yeah.
Yeah, fair. I don't know. This card is really cool. This card might also, just for the record, might be entirely unplayable. This is exactly the kind of card that we look at and everyone goes, "Oh my god, look at the combos!" And maybe Activate makes it too clunky for us to want to buy
Yeah.
it.
Mm-hmm. Because it only
Right, like-
happens once.
So like, and if you don't see the right cards with it, you just played a shitty 3/4. Or if you play it on the wrong turn, right? Like you draw it late and you're just like, "Oh great, a 3/4." It's possible that it's not worth it. Like we go crazy about a lot of flashy cards like this over time, and then we come back to it and we're like, okay. Yeah, Fire Hair, Fastos, etc. Well, good.
Yep.
All right, final thoughts about the season. Go, Toxie, while you can.
A lot of potential cards. Like, we will see probably some broken cards. The Battle Pass card seems really strong. Torch, obviously, and I can't wait to cook with Invisible Woman. But we got a lot of memes. Mad Thinker, Moleman, Fantastic Car.
Moleman's good. Get ready.
He is a meme. He could be good,
could-
but he
oh.
is still meme.
Fine, he could be a good meme. Some memes are good.
Yeah.
He's the guy looking over shoulder at girlfriend meme, like a good meme. Classic.
Hold on, wait. I just thought about something with Mole Man. Shuri Sauron. You don't, other than something like Shuri, you don't really care. Imagine turning Red Skull.
It's cost, not power.
I guess, yeah. Yeah, that's right.
You get
I
a
realized that.
1/5.
As I was saying, I was like, wait a second. No, never mind. So you just need high cost things. All right,
Like
I'm shutting up
everyone,
now.
every time I talk about the card, literally every time
Yep.
I've talked about the card, this is now the fourth time I've talked about the card in a public space. Someone has gone Infinite, and I'm always like, that's still just a couple ones. Look, it's 212. I'm not sad for a 212, but like,
Yeah.
so is a 6 cost I'd actually like to put in my deck. I'm not super tech on. All right,
Yeah.
Ika.
This season's cool. I think get ready to play Shadow King a lot if you're not going to be into this. Like, if there was ever a season to play a Shadow King, well, it would be now, but also this one.
It'd be every meta ever. Just play Shadow King. Put it in your deck. What are you doing?
And I don't know. Like, there are some things that are hard to predict with this guy. Like, when sometimes we talk about cards coming up, and you're like, oh, this goes into that, this goes into that, and we definitely did that with this season as well. But there's potential to make decks that hasn't even crossed our minds yet, right? Like, there's that potential for sure.
I don't believe you. I think we talked about every possible
that's it.
thing that can be done.
We solved it. We solved the meta.
Game over.
We solved it. Yeah, it's done.
It's solved.
Nick?
I think this is going to be a really fun season. I think there's a lot of, even the cards that are kind of crappy, to be perfectly honest. At least, the Mad Thinker is different. He's something else. He's providing people a way to try and build something different. It's going to suck, but at least you get to try to build something different. But again, he's a Series 4 card. So I think even if he is bad, he's a Series 4 card. He doesn't have that same level of commitment. But I think the good cards are potentially very interesting. There is stuff that's different than what we've gotten. I know with doing this in Apprentice, trying to think of cards and what to have them do to make it interesting, to make it different, is not an easy task. And the fact that they've given us cards that I think, especially with Season Pass, is going to be a strong card. I think some of these are going to be really, really good. I think most of them are going to be kind of but that's fine. Like, you don't need every single card of the month to be good. And I think this is a perfect example of that.
I love the Fantastic Four, and I couldn't be more excited. Last August, they gave us New Avengers. Young Avengers. I love the Young Avengers. I was excited even when some of them look great and some of them look meh. I'm just as excited for Fantastic Four. These are some of my favorite Marvel properties. I cannot wait for this to be an absolute blast. Reed is going to go in every deck, and Torch is going to be completely insane. And Moleman is our sleeper hit of the week. Not just because I look like him. All right. We good?
We're good.
Variant of the week is Magic. Who picked Midnight Suns?
And that was I. It was I who did it. Look, I like Midnight Suns variants a lot. I think they're very underrated. I think every time this topic comes up about the variants of the week, I always go, this one's underrated, which means that none of them are. The main reason I like this variant is because a lot of Magic's variants are like, here's her in a costume that is maybe a bit more revealing than it should be, holding a sword, and that's it. At least this one has cool, like, different design to it. The color scheme and the Midnight Suns art style is really cool as well. It stands out from all the others. I'll be honest, like, there are 2 or 3 Magic variants that just look exactly the same.
More than 2 or 3.
Yeah. So that's why I picked it.
Before we go on, did you play Midnight Suns?
I did.
Did you like it?
It was okay.
So I really enjoyed the combat, and then I would go back to the base and be like, do chores. And I was like, I don't want to do chores. This is a video game. It's like, no. You have to go talk to everyone, and then you have to go do these 6 things, and then you have to research all the... I was like, fuck you, man. I'm not doing homework for your video game. Thanks. It was like, I wish it was just more gameplay. All right.
I just want to say really quickly before we move on, this is, I think, in my opinion, the best Midnight Suns variant in the game. Like, I don't think that's... I know there's a couple that are really good. This one is, I think, the best. It's the most different.
All right. Nick, are you Venom?
Nope.
No. Toxie is Venom because he's always Venom. Toxie, go.
Look at this Magic. She has a sword. She has barely clothes on. I am Venomized fanboy. I have all the Venomized. So I'm the counterpart to Ika. And It's just perfect.
I hate
Like,
Venomized.
I don't know. I'm just speechless when I see her. Well,
She's got a weird tongue coming out of her shoulder that I don't know if I'm comfortable with. I'm gonna let you know that makes me a little uncomfortable. It is very
she can
weird.
lick on me.
I mean,
Okay.
it's venomized, so I would expect there being a weird tongue coming out somewhere else, and that's all I'm going to say about that.
Well, the venom is like, I don't even want to get into this. This fucking variant is weird. It looks like it's almost like an art germ venomized, and it's like, why would you do that?
Yeah.
All right. Sorry, Toxie. I know you love your venomized variants. Okay. Nick, you are the fantasy variant.
Yes, I was looking to try and refresh my memory as to which one I liked, because I've never found a magic variant that just like screams to me. And I saw this one and I'm like, well, there's going to have to be a spend of tokens, I guess. This one I think is just really good. I like a lot of the fantasy variants. Some of them are iffy. I think this one is an exceptionally good one. Yes, it's still a little bit too sexualized, but less so. And I think this is one of the best that really captures her face.
I mean, yeah, well, second dinner, if they make her if you get to level 30 mastery, you not only get Magic's emote, you also get Captain Marvel's emote and Valkyrie's emote, because, all right, I picked the Jim Lee because it, like, very few Magics, they're all hypersexualized, feel like the comic. And this one is, like, a straight up comic book, but also feels like you would read it in a comic book. Plus, it's reasonably actiony. Yes, it's pose, but it's like her ready to fight. It's got the soul sword, which looks really, really cool here. I really like the background lighting effects when it's animated. I have this one. Well, I mean, I guess I have every Magic variant gold that I own because I have it gold. But the other thing I really like about it is that, well, okay, two more things. One, I really like the New Mutants uniform, the X-Men New Mutants uniform that she's wearing. And I like that her arm has the metal thing, which I know is from the comics, but also reminds of Colossus, her brother. And I think all of that just goes really, really well together. I'm not sure this is my favorite. No one picked my other favorite, which is the Maria Wolf that came out recently. It's between those two. But this one is like from an era of comics I love, so I went with it.
Yeah,
I
Maria
picked the Maria
Wolf was
Wolf
the next one.
Yeah,
I was debating on that one.
Same, yeah.
Maria Wolf, everyone's second favorite except Toxie, who would just pick like a
It's not out
carnagized
yet,
variant.
that's fine.
Yeah. Also, that Maria Wolf, I think, comes out. It's June 3rd, so it's
June
next
3rd.
week, so it's the start of the new season. But that one I'm 100% picking up immediately.
Which Maria Wolf?
The Maria Wolf Magic.
No, it's out.
Are you
Really?
sure? Because
like 99.9% sure. I will.
are you
literally
sure it's a
open
Maria Wolf though? Yes, please do.
Yes, I would like to know.
I'm opening it right now. In the meantime, Nick has asked to do the next section. Nick.
Yes. Well, I didn't want to do the whole section. Yes.
Oh, you did? Oh, really? I thought you did. All right, whatever.
No. Oh well.
Fine, I guess. Nick doesn't like you all that much.
No.
But Eco, why should people follow you?
You should follow me because you won't see any Cersei gameplay anywhere else.
Or Pixie.
And Pixie. When I'm in a bad mood and the meta is kicking my ass, which has been the case for the whole month, basically, because of Thanos, I bring out the Cersei and I say, let the RNG take the wheel, and hopefully I get some cool things happening. Other than that, I make good decks and I make them on stream, and I love chat's input because it does get my creative juices flowing. So if you're into that kind of stuff where I cook live and joke around, then come and check me out.
I think I dreamed that I bought it.
I think so.
And when the fuck did I get this Derek Chu variant?
Of Magic?
Yeah, it must have been a rare.
No, Derek Chu's never a rare. Is it a rare?
Then I didn't buy it.
You buy so much in this game. Who actually really?
No,
knows?
I don't. I very rarely buy like the shop variants. Daily login variant. Thank you.
Oh,
Wombat.
that was
I definitely didn't buy that.
Yeah.
Oh, right. I forgot that was the daily login one. I was like, is that the whale card? Although,
true.
I was sworn. I think I literally dreamed that I had the Maria Wolf. Like, I specifically remember making up my custom gold one. I think I literally dreamed that. I guess I will be buying the Maria Wolf when it comes out because I'm dreaming about the variant.
Maybe you were doing that in that deck builder.
There you go.
You like to put variants.
Oh yeah, that's true.
No, I basically gave up on doing that. I just make too many videos at this point, and I've fundamentally given up. I was like, I just need these decks to be made faster at this point.
Fair enough.
Oh my god. So I love this. Sorry, we'll talk more about Ika in 1 second. If you don't know, I'm gonna actually, if you're watching on stream, you'll see it. It's deckcodes.chat, where like if you paste an image of a deck, it gives you the deck code.
Yeah.
But that deck code it works in the game, but it doesn't work on Marvel Snap Zone. And that one problem has made my heart break like at least once a day ever since. Like, so I then go copy it into Marvel Snap to then copy it out of Marvel Snap to copy it into Marvel Snap Zone. And I'm like, fuck my life. Like, you couldn't just like, if this just worked in one step, it would save me literally like 20 minutes a day. And just like, whatever. I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but I promise it is. All right, sorry. Nick, say nice things about Ika.
So I've wanted to say about Ika because I was going to do this last week, but I didn't. I'm bad at trying to figure out when I can jump in. So I talked to Glazer about this beforehand because most of the people that I'm with are generally people that I've had an experience with or cared about. And for Ika has been one of the kindest people. He has been like the paragon of the pursuit team forever. I think you are like the person there, and you're the one sad person that I wish we couldn't have grabbed over to somewhere else, but we won't talk about that. Ika is very kind, is an excellent player, and you are never going to see the kind of decks that Ika plays anywhere else. I think Ika is probably one of the most unique. Wait, why does that card go with this one outside of a handful of others? But you're one of my favorite people to see do their decks. So I wanted to have a little bit of tainted love or a soft sell, if you would. So Glazer, please continue on with your profuse, much more flowery English teacher.
Nah, man, fuck that guy. All right.
That's right.
I don't know, man. The dude's on every 2 weeks. How many times do you want me to say nice things?
Yeah.
He's the best. He's the best deck builder in the game. He's certainly the most prolific. And like what I said at the start is genuinely true. Part of the reason I started covering him so much, outside of like it's good content, right? Their original decks, is I realized how often people were playing and covering Ika decks. A lot of the bigger creators in the game, especially those that made a lot of like that were bigger early in the game's history, right? Didn't bother with deck credits, and they were just fucking covering Ika decks left and right. They didn't know where there was Ika decks. They just found successful decks on Untapped, and they were covering them. I'm assuming Ika knows this. Did you realize
happens,
that?
Dexter. Yeah. Still happens. Last week.
It's fair enough. See, there you go. So, like, I was just like, man, like this guy probably deserves credit for all these decks all these people are playing all the time. Like, no one knew where any of these decks came from. It was ridiculous. So I was like, I got to start covering them. Like, it was absurd. So now at least you know. Sometimes you're playing Ika decks. You know, sometimes he still doesn't like that I did that and gives them to KM instead of me. But outside of that, like, everything is it's awesome. Like, you play Ika decks. You don't know you play Ika decks, but you play Ika decks. I play Ika decks. Toxie plays Ika decks. Nick doesn't actually ever remember to open the games, or he would play Ika decks too.
Yep.
But like, he's at this point a fundamental part of the fabric of Marvel Snap. He puts out more decks than anyone, and they work. And you should like definitely be following him because like, why wait? So, oh my god, this is 100% a tangent that I realized earlier. I'm so sorry, but I need to tell like other players and deck builders about this. So I constantly cover clog decks, right? Every time I cover a clog deck, it stops being the best clog deck, and immediately after, a different clog deck is the best. I think that's like the way clog works, where like clog very specifically as an archetype, once you know what you're facing, you're much better against it. But if you don't know if there's a Gore or if there's a Sage or if there's a Shadow King or like which version you're facing, it's so much better at actually winning cubes against you. So like I think whatever clog deck I cover will be the best the instant I cover it, and then immediately not be. Mm-hmm. But like there's a smaller truth to that for a lot of Marvel Snap decks, so you should watch Ika so you can get in on those decks early. Not that he plays clog, he has a soul. But but like you can get in on those decks early and get those extra cubes before everyone knows what they are. Cool.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, Toxic. Why should people follow you?
I mean, it's 5 a.m. It's stormy outside. I'm lagging because of that, and I still have the time of my life and enjoy talking about the game. I really put some
Because you
passion
follow
in.
me because rah. Nick,
Now,
tell
I
us
think
about Toxic. No, I have no
Toxie
idea.
is a phenomenal human being. Everybody knows this. Anybody that's in Perry Stream knows that he is the least toxic of all of the toxic people. He's a phenomenal human. He loves playing other stuff. I had such a blast playing a little bit of Repo with him a couple weeks ago, which we need to get back to. I need to play some more of that. That was really, really fun. But Toxie's just a very kind person and definitely is somebody who will express what they're doing in the gameplay and is willing to take suggestion, is kind to everyone. I don't think you could find a person out there that could say a bad thing about Toxic. Like, he's just an amazing human being. He's got the cutest freaking dog in the whole wide world. Could possibly be that we share similar looks between our dogs, but that said, still a very cute dog. And I love it. I don't remember. I apologize for this. I don't know if it is your wife or your girlfriend or live in bestie. But it's always great whenever you guys are on screen. It's always just great to be in your streams because there's always a level of joy and happiness. And that is something that not a lot of people get.
So, look, in Marvel Snap, most streamers look like streamers. And as my chat is literally yelling, Toxie is hot. Go follow the one really hot Marvel Snap streamer.
True. Also, like, not to be understated, he's like one of the best players in the game too. Like,
No question.
Like, not only is
he
everything.
gains a bunch of ranks and then he plays till 6 a.m. when he's falling asleep and loses them. So it's amazing.
Well, that's
It's
how dedicated.
content.
No, but like, really, I do genuinely want to say that he is extremely dedicated to like streaming, right? Like, he is very committed and he's very hardworking for this, and it shows. It really does show, and more people should appreciate that and follow it.
Yeah, legitimately
Thank you.
unbelievable streamer. All right. It is. Oh, hey, Nick, you don't get a slide because you're a host. Should people
fine.
follow you?
Maybe. Sure.
You know how you follow Nick? You follow ToxicSoulKing, and then you show up on a Thursday, and you'll get Nick. That's how you find him.
Hey, technically I am streaming right now. Legitimately. Maybe not on my channel, but I'm streaming.
Oh, follow Nick the Greek Geek. Eventually he'll go live, and it's like you don't get holidays every day, right? Like, if you had holidays every day, you wouldn't appreciate them. So on the like rare occasions he streams, it feels special, and you get to be a part of that if you're following Nick not the Greek Geek, which it took me 3 weeks to learn. All good?
I make poor choices.
I mean, don't we all? Toxie's awake at 5 a.m. You're not even the worst choices around right now. All right. Certain tiers of support on our Patreon with honor. Thanks. I'm going to read all the names as fast as I can. Thank you to our Patreon. Actually, let me catch my breath before I do this. Thank you to our patron of the month, Bricks to Click, Epic Elixir, Mentor, Brennan, Irregardless, LAB, Income, Person, Hudson, Everybody, Think, Poker, Prime, Brian, Burke, Ryman, Ren Wrench, Caretix, Lee, Quarry, Kazushi, Archangel, 3K, Black Dahlia, Profost, The Goat Seeker, Code, Hallowed, Only Fox, Synth, Bat Nick, Absolute Shannon, Nightmare, Dirty Casual, Mr. Ruffle, Cables, Ninja Prime, Philip Brackwich, Haplo, Candy Logs of the Danger Zone, The Biz, Black Jeebus, 23, Exorcy, and Skippy G, Jessica Gamble, Slush Death, King of Bros, Great Kazoo, Werewolf, Capsioto, Lunar Chris Clam, Colonel Forbin, Rob Silverman, M. Holland, David G. Wingfield, Stephen Brian Coffin, Jason Martin, Jason B, Mr. Craig Sterry, Matt V, Corey, Corbin, John Q, Jim McHugh, Yesta, Ace One Big Man, Milkman for Reals, Cactus Jack, Reapster, BG, Quip Pro Joe, Snap to Suzo, Dick Carlo, Models Must Be in Pickety Boom Bot, Green Goblin, Unibot, Flan, 36 Leaf, Spectrum, Hoot, Oculars, Matt H, DJ, Mike Hudson, No Freaking Flex, Nick the Greek Geek, Hey Nick, ToxicSoulKing, you guys are together, Zodrix, the King of Canada, Demi Falcon Father, Newman, Jonesy, Two Ties, the Great Learners, the Parking Tucker, and of course, Gunny T, where the T stands for. I don't even know anymore, man. What's a T stand for? This is the end of our show. Peace and love, everybody. I'm going to hit stop now.